Chapter 1502. It's Ding Xiang, is Miss Chow back? Sigh, I couldn't be more envious. Naturally, everyone assumed they were heading to the first section of the Xiao family. Though accustomed to this sight, the villagers couldn't help but sigh with envy each time. Unexpectedly, upon entering the village, the convoy came to a halt. Zhou Chong dismounted, respectfully cupped his fists at a farmer, and inquired, "Could you kindly direct us to Ding Xiang's parents' residence and Xiao Yunduan's family?" The first section of the Xiao family is right over there. The largest house belongs to them. What did you mention just now? Ding Xiang? Coincidentally, this farmer was also a member of the Ding clan and was closely acquainted with Ding Xiang's family. By all accounts, Ding Xiang should address him as a cousin. Hearing Ding Xiang's name, he was taken aback and asked in confusion. Zhou Chong explained, "Yes, indeed. Ms. Ding, also known as Ding Xiang, is our madam. Our madam mentioned that her mother is Ms. Zhou, and her father is named Ding Erzhu. Where can we find the Ding family?" "What? It's really Ding Xiang?" the farmer exclaimed, his mouth agape, taking a while to collect himself. "Go to." The surrounding villagers, witnessing the spectacle, immediately gathered and erupted. "What? Ding Xiang? Which Ding Xiang?" "My mother is Ms. Zhou, and my father is Ding Erzhu. Isn't she the granddaughter of 5th Grandpa Ding who passed away 2 years ago?" "She definitely didn't die. Otherwise, why would someone be looking for her? Back then, she was nowhere to be found." "Yes. What did he just call her? Miss Ding? When did Ding Xiang become a lady? Oh my, what's happening? Is Ding Xiang back? Is she in the carriage? Why isn't she coming out? Ding Xiang, Ding Xiang." A voice called out to the carriage. Qingyun smiled and explained, "Our madam hasn't returned yet. She's currently occupied and couldn't make it. She misses her parents, so she sent us subordinates back to visit on her behalf." The crowd erupted in excitement, the commotion intensifying. "Oh my goodness, it's really Ding Xiang. Where has she been all this time? She's wealthy? Hey, what's going on?" "Exactly. It's quite peculiar. Regardless, she's undoubtedly rich. Look at these brightly dressed servants, the carriages and horses. She must have struck it rich. Sigh, I'm so envious." The animated crowd, buzzing with curiosity and excitement, grew denser. A commotion echoed, and someone shouted, "Here they come! 5th Grandpa Ding! 5th Grandma Ding!" and so forth. The crowd instinctively made way as they witnessed 5th Grandpa Ding, 5th Grandma Ding, and a sizable group rushing over with flushed faces and sparkling eyes. Evidently, someone had hurried to share the news, prompting their swift arrival. Upon spotting the 10 individuals, 10 horses, and numerous carriages, 5th Grandma Ding exclaimed, "Oh my!" She slapped her thigh, so exhilarated that she nearly fainted. 5th Grandpa Ding and his family were overcome with a mix of anger and greed. Evidently, they had already assumed ownership of everything. 5th Grandpa Ding remained somewhat composed. He halted the family members on the verge of clambering onto the carriage. It was too precarious, and besides, why were they eyeing their belongings as if they were their own? Naturally, they needed to step back for now. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1503. Where are Madam's parents? 5th Grandpa Ding cleared his throat, casting a glance at Zhou Chong and the others. Assuming an air of dignity, he inquired, "Where's Ding Xiang? Where is she now? Why hasn't she returned home after such a long time? Doesn't she realize her family would worry about her? How absurd." 5th Grandma Ding thought of her second son and daughter-in-law, who had turned unfilial because of Ding Xiang, and a surge of resentment flooded her heart. Sneering, she added spitefully, "Exactly. This unfilial girl, she, all right. 5th Grandpa Ding interjected, speaking vaguely, "Let's not dwell on the past. Isn't the child more sensible now and knows how to be filial? When she returns, we can have a cordial conversation and admit our mistakes. You're not allowed to speak ill of her." Fifth Grandma Ding snorted, but she had resolved to torment Ding Xiang and teach her a lesson. She intended to control her and make her listen. Before Zhou Chong, Qing Yun, and the others arrived, they had heard their madam casually mention the situation at home with a smile, preparing them mentally. At that time, hearing this, they couldn't help but feel indignant and angry for their madam. Now, their fury intensified. Their madam was an exceptional individual. They hadn't expected her to endure such humiliation at home. This wretched old woman's family were truly leeches. A despicable, malicious, and shameless bunch of leeches. They sought the benefits of their madam but still scolded and humiliated her like this. Truly shameless. Fifth Grandpa Ding gestured dismissively. All right, you guys hop onto the carriage and follow me home. We'll discuss this further once we're home. Zhou Chong and the others sneered inwardly. Home, my foot. What does your family have to do with our madam? These people were madam's blood relatives. Yet, they exhibited no concern for her. The moment they spoke, it was criticism and scorn. How shameless! Zhou Chong deliberately gazed at Fifth Grandpa Ding with feigned confusion and smiled. Oh dear, who is this old man of yours? Our madam has already clarified things for us. Her father isn't that old. Qing Yun chimed in with mockery. Madam mentioned that her parents care for her and dote on her, but I didn't hear you express any concern for our madam. Are you a pair of impostors? The villagers erupted into laughter. Many spectators relished the spectacle. Those with a bit more discernment likely understood that it wouldn't be so simple for Fifth Grandpa Ding and Fifth Grandma Ding to acquire these items today. Even if Ding Xiang had sent someone back, it wasn't to bestow them with benefits but likely to exact revenge. Indeed, everyone recalled how Ding Xiang was forced to leave by them. The girl couldn't endure it any longer and was frightening when she exploded. How could she suddenly become good-tempered again? What did you say? Who are you calling imposters? Damn girl, believe it or not, I'll sell you. Fifth Grandma Ding's finger nearly poked at Qinjian's face. Qing Yun recoiled, slapping her hand away. Show some manners. Ding Dalong, Ding Sanlang, and their daughter-in-law grew so furious that they began hurling curses at Ding Xiang. What damn girl, and unfilial. None of their words were polite. Shut up. Fifth Grandpa Ding's face reddened. He halted his family, furrowing his brow. Your servants. How can you speak in such a manner? It's not appropriate to air grievances in public. Let's go home first. I am Ding Xiang's biological grandfather. Everyone in the village knows. Let's go. Zhou Chong sneered. Where are our madam's parents? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1504. Distorting the Truth. Fifth Grandpa Ding was left speechless. This time, the murmurs in the crowd grew even louder. Essentially, everyone grasped that Ding Xiang had genuinely encountered some stroke of luck outside. She had sent someone back to seek retribution. The family of Fifth Grandpa Ding would likely have a challenging time today, facing significant embarrassment. Fifth Grandpa Ding hadn't yet formulated a response when someone in the crowd spoke up on his behalf. A voice proclaimed loudly, Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou? They left with nothing. Shut up. Shut up. Are you the only one who knows how to speak, huh? Fifth Grandma Ding rolled her eyes and scolded the onlookers. She then turned her ire on Zhou Chong. Those two unfilial things only care about their own pleasure and abandoned us a long time ago. Unfilial wretches. Why are you still mentioning them? Don't mention them again. You people. She shot a fierce glare at the villagers observing the commotion and issued a warning. What business is it of yours? Only you have a mouth and can talk. Don't spout nonsense if you don't understand. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. If you continue sizing up our family and think we're easy to bully, you'll regret it. The woman who had spoken earlier pursed her lips and mumbled something under her breath, but she dared not say anything more. The others caught wind of Fifth Grandma Ding's threat. They forced smiles and found it difficult to speak. This old woman was a troublemaker. Ding Xiang must have struck gold. Bringing back numerous large carts and horses constituted a substantial fortune. The Ding family likely eyed her with red-hot envy. If things went awry and they couldn't lay claim to it, anyone daring to speak up would undoubtedly face a confrontation from the other family. Why stir up such trouble? Observing 5th Grandma Ding's 2 daughters-in-law, they immediately began disparaging Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou. Go to Ko, what do you mean by leaving with nothing? No way. It was clearly the 2 of them who were lazy and let father and mother scold them before running away in a fit of pique. That's right. They caused a lot of trouble at home. They were lazy and greedy, making father and mother angry. Our 2 families have done countless jobs for them, but we didn't complain. They left just like that and never showed filial piety to their parents again. They're ruthless. That is true. The villagers collectively stood there in stunned silence. Could they really go this far? It was a rare sight for someone to be so righteous and self-righteous. Zhou Chong, Qing Yun, and the others were on the brink of exploding from anger. If it weren't for the fact that it was inappropriate, Qing Yun would have spat in their faces. Qing Lan suddenly cried out. She slapped her head and said with a smile, "Oh, I have a bad memory. How could I forget? Before we came here, Madam had already sent someone back to ask around. Madam said that her parents are now working for Lord Xiao in the Zhang village. We are on the wrong path. Why don't we go to Mr. Xiao's house to pay our respects? Let's go to the Zhang village first. We will visit Mr. Xiao's house later." The chorus from 5th Grandma Ding's 2 daughters-in-law came to an abrupt halt. Qing Yun also giggled and clapped her hands. That's right, that's right. That's the best. When you see our old master and madam, ask them. Won't you know everything? Zhou Chong sneered. It's naturally not without evidence. There must be records, right? One look and you'll know. It can't be fake. As he spoke, he signaled for the coachman to turn around. The group of people shouted and prepared to leave. 5th Grandpa Ding and his family were dumbfounded. Ding Dalong and Ding Sanlang stomped their feet, about to rush forward to snatch the horses, when they were kicked out by the guards and scolded, "Are your Ding family bandits? How dare you rob in broad daylight? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1505. General's wife, what robbery? Who is robbing? Seeing this, 5th Grandma Ding decided to throw a tantrum. She ran to the front of a carriage and sat on the ground. She slapped the ground and scolded, "The heavens have struck me, and I've lost my conscience. No matter what, I'm still a bloodline elder. That couple has brought a large family to eat and drink for so many years. What's wrong with me wanting this wretched girl's food now? If you want to leave, leave. Leave these carriages for me. Otherwise, if you have the ability, run over me. I want to see if you dare." The 2 daughters-in-law looked at each other, rolled their eyes, and ran to mother-in-law, pretending that they were trying to persuade her. But, in fact, all 3 of them stopped the wagon. They were criticizing Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou's family, calling them heartless and unfilial. Even Ding Xiang was scolded, saying that she, a girl, had run away from home without a word and even married someone without any matchmaking. She was really too shameless. She might be someone else's concubine, and the Ding family will be humiliated. It was no wonder she didn't come back. It's 80% likely. She's too ashamed. That is true. Zhou Chong, Qing Yun, and the others were furious. They really couldn't listen to this anymore. Qing Yun went over and kicked the 3rd section of the family's daughter-in-law's chest, causing her to fall to the ground. She placed her hands on her hips and scolded, "If you 2 gossipers dare to scold me again, try it. Believe it or not, I'll arrest you and put you in jail." Qing Lan sneered. Although our madam had a hard time when she was young and no one doted on her, happiness comes after suffering. She was lucky enough to save our general by chance, so our general married her. Now, she's the wife of a 3rd-grade general. Heh, you dare to humiliate the wife of a 3rd-grade general. I think you're tired of living. Qing Yun said hatefully, "What does such a person need this mouth for? I think it's better to cut off this tongue." Everyone was in an uproar. Source. Com, updated on. What? General's wife. What? Is that real? This is too. Everyone was dumbfounded. Initially, when they heard that Ding Xiang was wealthy, everyone was stunned. As Ding Xiang and her aunt spoke, though their words were unpleasant, everyone secretly nodded in agreement. Furthermore, they felt enlightened. That was right. Ding Xiang used to be quiet, thin, and small. She was not outstanding. When she couldn't take it anymore and exploded, everyone was shocked and looked at this girl seriously. They thought to themselves that she finally had some temper. It was rare. Later on, they thought that she was dead and even sighed sympathetically. Unexpectedly, she had struck it rich. However, she was deemed useless. Apart from being fortunate enough to be someone's concubine and meet a good old master and a good mistress, what else could she do? But the general's wife. Wasn't this too ridiculous? No matter what, they could not connect Ding Xiang with the general's wife. Zhou Chong sneered. How can we joke about such a thing? Are you tired of living? Don't believe me? Hey, let's go, the two of you. He pointed at 5th Grandma Ding and her daughter-in-law. Get up now and follow me to the county office. I'll say the same in front of the county magistrate. He took out something that looked like a token and shook it. He sneered. I don't think you have much knowledge and don't know what it is, but the county magistrate must know it. Get up and leave. Everyone subconsciously breathed lightly, and their expressions could not help but show some respect. The way they looked at Zhou Chong and the others also changed. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1506. Threat. 5th Grandma Ding and her daughters-in-law were also dumbfounded. They were also a little uneasy. Of course, it was impossible for the two of them to get up and rush to the county governmental office with Zhou Chong. The third section of the family's daughter-in-law stammered, We were just guessing and said that. Who asked her to be unfilial? She didn't come back to see the old man for so long and didn't say that she would send something back. That is true. Qing Yun wished she could step forward and kick them again. She said coldly, The general's wife has a noble status and can suppress the vulgarities and foul words from your mouths. However, if it were ordinary businessmen and rich people who have no power or influence, wouldn't you have spread rumors and slander for nothing? How can you make up for it if the reputation is ruined? Qing Lan raised her eyebrows and berated, You slandered the general's wife and even played the blame game. You won't let this go so easily. Just wait and see. This matter isn't over. The two daughters-in-law panicked even more. They opened their mouths and wanted to argue endlessly, but they did not dare to. However, 5th Grandma Ding shamelessly slapped the ground and said, I don't care about the general's wife, this madam, and that madam. Even if she has become an immortal ascension and ascended to the heavens, she's still my granddaughter. As a grandmother, so what if I want something from my granddaughter? She's the general's wife, so she can't be unfilial. Otherwise, I'll sue the officials and see if she has any face. The eyes of the first section of the family and the third section of the Ding family lit up with excitement, as if they had found a way to become rich for a long time. That's right. An official valued reputation very much, especially filial piety. If she was unfilial, she might not even be able to continue being an official. How could the imperial court tolerate an unfilial official? Source. Com, updated on. Cowhee was that wretched girl so lucky? There was no way she could shake off the entire family and enjoy life alone. Go ahead and sue them, Zhou Chong and the others scoffed in anger. Our madam's family has long left with nothing. I want to see how you sue them. If you can't sue them, it will be extortion. Go to jail. Qing Lan said indignantly, Why waste time talking with them? Let's go. Qing Lan and Qing Yun went to the first section of the family to pay their respects. Zhou Chong, on the other hand, was too disinterested to say anything more. He had already delivered a decisive blow, and the family would soon realize that their madam was thriving. Regrets and tears would surely follow. Although the process of delivering this blow was distasteful, there was a certain satisfaction in witnessing their frustration. Despite their unwarranted aggression, They had gained nothing in the end. Following Zhou Chang's command, a few brothers stepped forward and unceremoniously moved the 3 troublemakers aside without offering any explanations. The father and son of the Ding family were anxious, eager to intervene, but Zhou Chong firmly held onto 5th Grandpa Ding, rendering him immobile. His 2 sons each received a swift kick and rolled to the side in a pitiful state, wailing, "Someone is hitting someone. Someone is coming to our shouting village to bully us. Everyone, help stop them." The villagers instinctively withdrew upon hearing this. Who would be foolish enough to get involved in a family matter of 5th Grandpa Ding's family? While they might enjoy watching a spectacle, they were more inclined to support Ding Xiang, the general's wife. Moreover, the Ding family had a reputation for trouble, and few were willing to associate with them. Considering the circumstances, intervening seemed imprudent. Every family had its differences and disputes, but subjecting the 2nd section of the family to such ruthless treatment was beyond the norm for any ordinary family. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1507. No one can take it away. Qing Yun and Qing Lan paid their respects and swiftly departed, accompanied by Zhou Chong and the others. 5th Grandma Ding, consumed by anger and anxiety, found herself seated on the ground, unleashing a torrent of scoldings upon the 2nd section of the family for perceived unfilial behavior, ingratitude, and even accusing them of inviting divine retribution. In her frustration, she extended her displeasure to the onlooking villagers, chastising them for their perceived cold-bloodedness, envy, and unwillingness to witness the prosperity of others. Her tirade continued, blaming the villagers for their alleged lack of assistance. The villagers, taken aback by her outburst, responded with boos and gradually departed. Is she expecting our help after berating us? What does she want us to do? Join her in making a scene? Exactly. What kind of person does that? Well, it's no surprise. Have a look at what they've done before. No one else can be blamed for their predicament. They're just reaping what they sowed. I haven't seen a single penny from them, and now she calls us envious? What exactly are we envious of? Erju and his wife left with nothing. It seems like they still have a lot. 5th Grandma Ding's escalating anger led her to direct her ire at Ms. Fong. Rising from the ground, she intended to confront the 1st section of the Xiao family and settle the score with Ms. Fong. Source: Calm, updated on. Co-5th Grandpa Ding intervened, reprimanding her and instructing his son and daughter-in-law to restrain her. Go home, go home. What more do you want to create a commotion about? Ms. Fong can't stand our family's success, and am not finished with her. Why shouldn't I confront her? She's the one who influenced our 2nd son and his wife. Shut up, we'll talk when we get back. Ding Dalong and Ding Sanlang urgently urged her to silence, forcibly pulling her back without offering any explanations. The Xiao family's 1st section was not a force to be taken lightly. Antagonizing them could make the entire village their adversary, and the Dings had no intention of prolonging their stay in the village. If 5th Grandma Ding vented her frustration on Ms. Fong, it could jeopardize the enrollment of village children in the school. The repercussions could extend beyond personal consequences. They might find themselves burdened with the yearly responsibility of maintaining white-haired wigs and attire. It must be Ms. Fong. 5th Grandma Ding exclaimed indignantly as she closed the door. They're scheming to dominate our family, unable to tolerate our progress. This isn't over. 5th Grandpa Ding cast a glance at her but remained silent. Ding Dalong, Ding Sanlang, and their daughter-in-law refrained from arguing, their agreement evident. They directed their curses at the Xiao family's 1st section, particularly targeting Ms. Fong. If Ms. Fong were to learn about this, she would likely be left speechless. After a brief episode of scolding, Ding Sanlang's daughter-in-law, wearing a pained expression, remarked, "It's a shame about those carriages and over 10 horses. Who knows what treasures are inside? Sigh, such a waste. And those horses, how much money could they fetch?" She sighed, and the others shared in her sense of loss. Indeed, what a pity. Looking ahead, these possessions would become part of their family, providing enough resources to sustain them for a lifetime. However, everything was gone in an instant. Who could endure such a loss? I don't care, fifth Grandma Ding declared coldly. These belongings belong to our family. No one has the right to take them away. They went to Zhang village, right? Let's go find our second son now. Even if he left with nothing, I brought him into this world and sacrificed for him. If he dares deny me what I deserve, he'll stay in his house and never leave. Let's see if he can bear to let me starve to death. In the past, fifth Grandma Ding had made a scene but was overpowered. Despite her anger, she had to reluctantly give up. However, the shock she experienced today was too overwhelming. Several carts filled with possessions, over 10 horses, and a retinue of servants. These were all part of their family. Why should she let her second son and his family enjoy the benefits? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Ding Dalong and his brother immediately regained their enthusiasm. Mother is right. Let's go now. If second brother is truly heartless, let's all stay at their house. Absolutely. If he has the guts, let him face us. Fifth Grandpa Ding found himself in an awkward position, feeling the weight of embarrassment. Observing his discomfort, fifth Grandma Ding, in a fit of anger, exclaimed, "What's with that face? Are you still feeling ashamed? Our family's dignity has been thoroughly trampled by his family. How can we have any dignity left? How many people in the village are decent? They might be ridiculing us behind our backs, mocking us for having an unfilial son, mocking you for being a feeble father and grandfather. You can't even reign in your own son and granddaughter. Do you have any self-respect left?" Fifth Grandpa Ding, infuriated and humiliated, shot a glare at fifth Grandma Ding, who snorted dismissively. "If you don't go to the Zhang village today, we're going on our own." Ding Dalong chimed in, "You're right, father. We can't let others mock us any longer. We should quickly reconcile with second brother's family. Isn't it great that our family is intact? It was all a misunderstanding. Second brother is just too stubborn. If he hadn't acted hastily, things wouldn't have turned out like this." "That's true," added Ding Sanlang. "Second brother is too impulsive. He left in a fit of anger and won't return. Leaving with nothing? I was merely pushing him to admit his mistake and come back soon. Who would have thought he'd actually leave? I believe second brother had already contemplated it and intentionally ran away." "I agree." "Exactly. Why would he be so heartless otherwise? Who could be so furious with their own parents? It's absurd. Maybe Ms. Zhou influenced him. Our sister-in-law may seem sincere and weepy, but she might have a hidden hand in all this." The two daughters-in-law of the Ding family also expressed their sentiments. The envy intensified when they contemplated Ms. Zhou, once subjected to their mistreatment, now living a life of abundance that surpassed their imagination. Previously, envy had its roots, but now Ding Xiang had ascended to the position of the general's wife. That meant Ms. Zhou had become the mother of the general's wife. Wouldn't she enjoy even greater prosperity in the future? And what about them? As the biological aunts of the general's wife, why should they not share in the benefits? Fifth Grandpa Ding, swayed by the words of his sons and daughters-in-law, especially when his son's remarks struck close to home, felt a pang of regret. Even a fierce tiger would not harm its own cubs. In truth, he hadn't intended to cast his son out with nothing. It was a rash statement made in the heat of the moment. As a father, he cared about his reputation. All he wanted was for their second son and the others to return, apologize, and put the matter behind them. Little did he know, fifth Grandpa Ding harbored deep regrets for not handling the situation differently. Reflecting on the past, he thought he should have delegated the task to his eldest or third son to invite them back, seeking reconciliation and extending forgiveness. Why hadn't he considered that option then? Determined to go to the Zhang village, not for material gain but for the unity of the family, fifth Grandpa Ding was taken aback when, on the way, they encountered Zhou Chong and the others riding horses and driving carriages back to Xiaoding village. The entire family was left dumbfounded. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Upon reaching the Zhang village, Ding Erzu's yard was already locked. A neighbor, with a smile, informed them that Ding Erzu and his wife, along with their children and mother-in-law, had taken a carriage to Shaoding village. Fifth Grandpa Ding's eyes gleamed with hope. Did he come back to find us? The neighbor, familiar with this peculiar family, rolled his eyes and chuckled. You've already severed ties. How could that be? They went to Lord Xiao's house. Fifth Grandpa Ding was nearly incensed. The neighbors, unconcerned, continued to gossip and laugh about how elder brother Ding and sister-in-law were relishing life. Ding Xiang's success had brought them many valuable gifts. Fifth Grandma Ding's heart pained. Those possessions were rightfully hers. Let's go back. Let's go back. She had to return and find them. Amid the neighbors' laughter, the family trudged back in frustration, thoroughly exhausted. Upon re-entering the village, someone awaited them, urging them to hurry to the ancestral hall where the land officer and elders were waiting. Fifth Grandpa Ding secretly rejoiced, thinking it was an opportune moment to clarify the matter. It might save him some trouble if he could bring his second son back to the family. Unexpectedly, the land officer and the patriarch issued a stern warning. Ding Xiang is now the wife of a general, a third-ranked general's wife. This is her blessing and the village's pride. If you dare cause trouble and incur the general's displeasure, staying in the village won't be an option. Expressions of Fifth Grandpa Ding and his family instantly shifted. Even Fifth Grandma Ding couldn't bear such harsh words and refrained from acting recklessly. If they were truly ousted, where would they go? Without the support of the clan, anyone could trample on them, and if they suffered, they would have to endure in silence. Fifth Grandpa Ding's aged face flushed with embarrassment. He reluctantly said, "How could we cause trouble? There's no such intention. This is because our granddaughter has found success. We are happy to. And second son, your family should come back. Your mother and I are old. Are you truly so heartless? Didn't you make mistakes back then? You insisted that we mistreated Ding Xiang and even talked about leaving with nothing. I thought it was a jest, expecting you to return after a few days. Who knew you took it seriously? Look, Ding Xiang is doing well, isn't she? You wronged us." Fifth Grandma Ding scoffed. "What's the use of saying this? Will they listen? I'm afraid they've long wished to move out and enjoy themselves. Now that they have the chance, why aren't they leaving? They've long held disdain for us and are not on our side." Ding Erzu's heart softened at his father's words. However, when he heard his mother's remarks, his heart instantly turned cold. Seeing the old woman about to take a harmful course of action, Fifth Grandpa Ding reprimanded her repeatedly. "Shut up, don't say so much." Ding Erzu, his face pale, spoke in a trembling voice. "Ding Xiang has found success, and it's due to her luck. This child has endured much to achieve what she has today. That doesn't excuse any wrongdoings. What a joke! What family would joke about casting out their son and daughter-in-law with nothing? Everyone in our village witnessed what happened back then. I don't want to say more. If not for the villagers' help and Ms. Fang's family, we might not have survived long ago. What's the use of saying this now? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Second son. You, shut up. Fifth Grandpa Ding scolded sternly, fixing a glare on Fifth Grandma Ding. Fifth Grandma Ding was shocked and genuinely frightened. Her face turned cold, and she dared not utter a sound. No matter how domineering she could be, when the old man was truly angered, she wouldn't dare provoke him again. Fifth Grandpa Ding felt a pang of heartbreak. Second son, are you really determined not to forgive father and mother? Are you truly so heartless? Ding Erzu offered a bitter smile and closed his eyes. Gazing at Fifth Grandpa Ding without blinking, he replied with seriousness, "Let me ask you, if Ding Xiang hadn't found success today, would you still insist on reconciling with us?" Fifth Grandpa Ding was stunned, a subconscious thought surfacing in his mind. That shouldn't be the case, Swiftly regaining his composure, his face flushed. He forced himself to remain composed. Of course, I must admit it. We're family after all. It's just that this matter happened. Ding Erju smiled bitterly. I'm not naive. Ding Dalong was anxious. Second brother, are you trying to drive me to despair? If you push me to despair, won't you regret it? That's right. How can you be so heartless? Father and mother raised you for so many years for nothing? Ding Erzu's heart grew even colder. Since I can remember, have I done any less work at home? Has our family contributed any less? If I must apologize, I've let Ding Xiang and her mother down. I've never let anyone else down. You. That's enough, the land officer interrupted, preventing fifth Grandpa Ding and his family from joining in. He spoke unhurriedly. There's no need for further words. Leaving with nothing is a reality. Ding Erju, what do you think? I don't have any opinions. Let's leave it at that. It's still the same. You're not going to admit it, are you? True. Second son, you. All right, brother Ding, this is not a joke. Since it was decided at that time, it's not up to your family to go back on their word now. This doesn't make sense. From now on, this matter is not allowed to be mentioned again. You guys can live your own lives. I'm telling you, Ding Xiang is the glory of our village. If anyone dares to defame her or her parents, don't blame me for being rude. Fifth Grandpa Ding stared blankly at Ding Erju. Ding Erju lowered his head, feeling a deep sense of sorrow. What kinship? He shouldn't be pondering it at all. Looking at his father's gaze, the Ding family was anxious, but they dared not speak rashly. All eyes turned nervously and expectantly toward fifth Grandma Ding. True to expectations, fifth Grandma Ding did not disappoint. She gritted her teeth and said, if second son is truly heartless, we have nothing to say. Just consider it raising an ingrate. But no matter what, I gave him my life. Without me, how could he exist? He received benefits, so it's not too much for me to take a share, right? Zhou Chong responded coldly, if you don't understand what it means to leave with nothing, why don't you ask him properly? Benefits? Madam has already instructed that she won't give you a single thread. What does Madam's current situation have to do with you? Fifth Grandma Ding retorted angrily, you're just a servant. You have no right to speak. Zhou Chong shot back, that's what our madam told us. If you don't believe me, you can ask when our madam comes back. Our madam isn't free now, but she will return to check in. The land officer and the others exchanged glances. Initially considering being peacemakers and encouraging Ding Erju to provide some financial assistance to fifth Grandpa Ding's family for resolution, they changed their minds after hearing Zhou Chong's words. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1511. Not going too far obviously, Ding Xiang had no intention of letting fifth Grandpa Ding and his family off. She didn't even consider making any concessions. Given this stance, what else could they say? No one would risk the wrath of the wife of a third-grade general for the sake of individuals like fifth Grandpa Ding and fifth Grandma Ding. Moreover, they couldn't blame anyone but themselves for their current predicament. They had brought it upon themselves. The land officer spoke decisively, there are rules for everything, and these rules can't be violated. Otherwise, what will be the consequences? Brother Ding, refrain from saying anything. People must face the consequences of their actions. Don't you agree? Fifth Grandpa Ding's face turned purple. The members of the Ding family were seething but dared not utter a word. It was evident they were unconvinced by these words, but no one had the audacity to contradict the land officer. Even fifth Grandma Ding could only glare fiercely at Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou, venting her frustrations silently. That settles it, the land officer concluded, inwardly sighing. In their hearts, everyone sighed, recognizing this as karma. No matter how accurate the old saying, who could predict which cloud in the sky would bring rain? Once, everyone had ridiculed the first section of the Xiao family, but now? In the past, they had mocked Ding Erju and his wife as incompetent and cowardly. But now? Therefore, kindness was essential. Avoid going too far. Zhou Chong interjected, "Wait, land officer, I still have something to say." As one of Meng Wanfa's personal army vice-captains with an official position in the army, Zhou Chong, though just a 7th-grade lieutenant, held a status that commanded respect from the land officer and others. If he spoke, they wouldn't dare to disobey. The land officer hastily smiled and said politely, "Please speak." Zhou Chong pointed at 5th Grandma Ding's 2 daughters-in-law. "These 2 long-tongued women publicly humiliated our madam. They have evil intentions and use vicious words. Land officer, shouldn't you give us an explanation? As subordinates, if we ignore such words, we have no right to stay in front of the general and madam." How could village gossip not spread quickly? The land officer and the others grasped the situation. Panic set in for the 2 daughters-in-law of the Ding family. I was just speaking casually, making guesses. I didn't say much later. I didn't mean any harm. You can't blame us for this. Zhou Chong responded coldly, "Just speaking casually? Making guesses? Not meaning any harm? Is that how you justify your innocence? Can I also claim you're cheating on us? What nonsense are you spouting? You're pushing us to our deaths. Do you even understand that words can lead to someone's demise?" The land officer frowned. "You gossiping women should have learned a lesson long ago. You can think what you want, but you can't spread baseless rumors. Can't you comprehend such a simple logic? Everyone, give yourselves 10 slaps and apologize." "What?" Qing Yun and Qing Lan stepped forward. "Since you're defaming our madam, well, be the ones to deliver the slaps." They raised their hands and struck the 2 women. The resounding thwacks made everyone's hearts shudder and their scalps tingle. The 2 daughters-in-law of the Ding family were left reeling. They screamed in pain, instinctively attempting to evade the blows. Qingyun scolded, "Try hiding. This is what you deserve. If you dare to hide, you'll have someone hold you down." Terrified, the 2 women remained still, not daring to move. 5th Grandma Ding couldn't bear it any longer. "Second son, you 2 are treating me so unfairly. Have you no humanity?" Ms. Zhou, teary-eyed, added, "Aren't they bullying my daughter with their slander? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 15:12. Asking for it. 5th Grandma Ding was furious. Choose your words carefully," Qing Lan warned coldly. "You will face consequences for publicly insulting the general's wife's mother." 5th Grandma Ding was so frightened that she choked. She said angrily, "What? I'm her biological grandmother." "No," Qing Lan said. "Everyone in the village can testify that our madam has nothing to do with your family. You." Qing Yun and Qing Lan had initially aimed to teach these gossiping women a lesson in a nonchalant, casual manner, instilling fear to prevent them from provoking the general's wife's parents in the future. They intended to keep the punishment light. However, 5th Grandma Ding's provocation led them to unleash the full force of their anger. Every slap landed with a solid impact, causing 5th Grandma Ding and her daughter-in-law's mouths to bleed and swell. Even their teeth felt loose. After 10 slaps, their cheeks were so red and swollen that they could not speak. Witnessing this, the expressions of the villagers changed. Qing Lan stated coldly, "Remember this lesson. If you think our general's wife is far away and dare to act inappropriately, pray that our general's wife never returns. Otherwise..." Qing Yun added nonchalantly, "We didn't want to teach you both such a harsh lesson, but you left us with no choice. Your mother-in-law started insulting us from the moment she opened her mouth. She went too far. It angered us and we couldn't restrain ourselves any longer." 5th Grandma Ding's 2 daughters-in-law couldn't help but shoot resentful glances at her, further infuriating 5th Grandma Ding. The villagers, initially somewhat disgusted, found it hard to blame Qing Yun and Qing Lan. They believed Zhu and the others had gone too far and hadn't shown any respect. Upon hearing the explanation, the villagers couldn't fault Qing Yun and Qing Lan's actions. Ultimately, who could 5th Grandma Ding blame but herself? She truly brought it upon herself, no wonder. The drama concluded, and 5th Grandpa Ding's family left in defeat. Ms. Zhou sighed with relief internally. Excellent, that family would likely avoid causing any trouble in the future. Recalling the words Qinjian's daughter had spoken about not taking a step back from that family, Ms. Zhou couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. Whether or not these words had any impact on her husband, at least the current outcome aligned with her desires. Zhou Chong exchanged a few more words with the land officer. Afterwards, Ms. Zhou and Ding Erju departed, heading to the first section of the Xiao family. Ding Xiang distributed half of the gifts to Ms. Zhou and Ding Erju and the other half to the first section of the Xiao family. They also presented all the skins and gems they had acquired in Huning City to Ms. Fang. Ding Xiang wasn't the original occupant of this body, and her attachment to Ms. Zhou and Ding Erju was limited. She merely inhabited this body, and their connection was mainly through bloodlines. While she appreciated their efforts on her behalf, she viewed this pair of parents differently than real parents. Despite Ding Xiang's generous gifts, Ms. Fang hesitated to accept them. Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou insisted, so with a smile, Ms. Fang accepted the presents. Later, Ding Erju and his wife joined Ms. Fang for dinner at her home. Zhou Chong and the others visited the land officer and the chief, sharing their madam's story. As a result, they stayed with the first section of the Xiao family for the next 2 days. Whenever Ms. Zhou addressed Ms. Fang as sister-in-law, Zhou Chong and the others discreetly wiped their brows, recalling the times their madam referred to Madame Xiao as sister. Their madam had always been indifferent to minor matters. They simply chose to pretend they hadn't heard it. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1513. Not inviting Ding Xiang had already crafted the narrative, leaving Zhou Chong and Qin Yun with the responsibility of conveying her tale to Ding Erju, Ms. Zhou, Ms. Fang, and the land officer. In her account, Ding Xiang, fueled by anger and despair, escaped the ancestral hall. In the county city, she stealthily followed a caravan heading towards the province city. Fortunately, a sizable caravan bound for Huning City, a major northern border metropolis, was in need of additional hands. Despite the reluctance of many due to the arduous journey, Ding Xiang seized the opportunity. Upon their arrival in Huning City, a fortuitous series of events led her to rescue a grateful general. Impressed by her character, the general arranged a match for her, and Ding Xiang in turn held admiration for him. The two eventually married in Huning City, and due to the demanding post-wedding commitments, she had not returned until now. The tale was accepted without skepticism. Ms. Zhou couldn't help but shed tears at the thought of her daughter's endured pain. Ding Erju sighed in sympathy. Witnessing their reactions, Zhou Chong and the others found some relief. Subsequently, Zhou Chong shared the story of Xiao Yinduan and Xiao Xian with Ms. Fang, bringing her great joy. Additionally, the general's promise to inquire about Qi and look after him earned gratitude from Ms. Fang and the rest. They expressed their thanks while Qin Yun and the others modestly downplayed their role. The following morning, Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou returned, accompanied by Qin Yun, Zhou Chong, and the other land officers. They brought gifts and, in a gesture of gratitude, hosted them at their homes. Later, a lavish meal was arranged at the Xiao family residence's first section, inviting the land officer and others to partake. Although some in the Ding family harbored dissatisfaction, believing the meal should be hosted at their residence, none dared to voice their objections. Yesterday, Zhou Chong, Qin Yun, and the others displayed remarkable courage. Fifth Grandpa Ding's family suffered a severe beating, leaving them unable to rise. No one dared to exploit their seniority to voice any objections. Moreover, Ding Erju and his wife maintained a close connection with the first section of the Xiao family. It seemed wiser to enjoy the meal without stirring up unnecessary trouble. The Ding family reveled in their joy and pride. With Lord Xiao in the Xiao family and a general's wife in the Ding family, they felt well equipped to handle whatever the Xiao family might assert. Throughout the meal, there was a conspicuous omission in mentioning Fifth Grandpa Ding and Fifth Grandma Ding. It wasn't that they were reluctant to share the feast, but their presence made everyone uncomfortable. Considering Fifth Grandma Ding's penchant for causing trouble, it seemed more prudent not to invite them at all. However, Ms. Fang, in an attempt to prevent any appearance of callousness, instructed Xianxia to bring a substantial bowl of chicken, steamed meat, and mutton. This gesture aimed to show some consideration toward Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou, preventing villagers from perceiving them as unfeeling. Despite the severed familial ties, the fact remained that they were still biological parents. Neglecting to invite them for a meal might lead to complications. The act was framed as an expression of filial piety to elders sharing the same surname. In response to this offering, Yang Xiaoni, being straightforward, heard fifth Grandma Ding's disdainful remarks and couldn't help but respond. "Come on, don't say that. It's not about not wanting to treat you. If you come, trouble is inevitable. Are we still able to enjoy our meal?" Fifth Grandma Ding scowled at Yang Xiaoni, considering her words frivolous. The third daughter-in-law of the Ding family couldn't help but voice her frustration. "Why not be more magnanimous? This pettiness doesn't suit you. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 15:14. Ms. Zhou is not scary, but Ding Xiangyang Xiaoni shot a defiant glare. This is meant for fifth Grandpa Ding and fifth Grandma Ding, and it's a substantial offering. How can you call it petty? It's none of your business. Still staring at me? Uncle Erju, Aunt Zhou, and others endured mistreatment from you in the past, right? Despite their generous nature, you're fortunate they didn't retaliate. Do you really expect them to miss you and send you food? What's going through your mind? Her words struck a nerve, causing the third daughter-in-law of the Ding family to pale, fear evident in her eyes. Recalling the slap she received the previous day, a burning sensation and ache returned to her face. Yes, she had forgotten. In the past, when Ding Erju and Madame Zhou were part of the family, they endured frequent mistreatment. The brunt of the dirty work fell on their shoulders, subjected to ridicule and deliberate difficulties. While Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou handled it well, Ding Xiang and the troublesome girl displayed a fierce temper, showing no regard for her or her sister-in-law. They even resorted to slapping them. The panic spread not only to the third daughter-in-law but also to the other brothers and sisters-in-law. Upon returning from the land officer's place the previous day, the family had engaged in a lengthy session of scolding. They intended to settle the score with Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou once Zhou Chong, Qin Yun, and the others departed. The two daughters-in-law who had been slapped nursed intense hatred, vowing to return the favor to Ms. Zhou during the commotion or risk harboring unresolved resentment. However, fear now held them back. Ding Erju and Madame Zhou weren't particularly intimidating, but Ding Xiang was a different story. What if Ding Xiang returned to settle old scores? While Ding Xiang might spare the two elderly individuals, others could find themselves in an unfortunate predicament. Following that, the entire family adopted a more restrained demeanor and refrained from venturing into Zhang village. Even when fifth Grandma Ding expressed a desire to go, her sons and daughters-in-law went to great lengths to dissuade her, leaving the villagers puzzled. Little did they realize that this change was a direct result of Yang Xiaoni's unintentional remarks. Zhou Chong and the others spent 2 days in Shaoding village before bidding their farewells. Given the considerable distance to cover, a swift return would place them in late October or early November. Delaying any further would expose them to colder weather as they headed north, making the journey more challenging. Ms. Fang, anticipating their needs for the journey home, prepared ample food for them. Each member of the group received a generous red packet, and the entire family saw them off with courtesy. Anxiously awaiting news from Qi, Ms. Fang couldn't help but hope for a swift update. Reluctant to part ways, Ms. Zhou and Ding Erju enlisted the help of a schoolteacher to write a letter to Ding Xiang, expressing their longing for her return. Despite the uncertainty, the couple found solace in the knowledge that their daughter was alive and thriving, a source of profound joy that left no room for regrets. Once Zhou Chong departed, Ms. Fang approached Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou. Acknowledging their status as the general's in-laws, she considered it inappropriate for them to serve as stewards for the family. Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou, however, couldn't envision a life of idleness and expressed their willingness to continue managing the farm for the first section of the family. Assuring Ms. Fang that they were not weary, they opted for a more leisurely lifestyle while awaiting Ding Xiang's return. Ms. Fang, after contemplating the situation, agreed to their arrangement. Surprisingly, the incident led to improved relations among the various families in the village. Biased opinions began to shift, recognizing that success might come to any of the previously marginalized children or grandchildren. Fifth Grandpa Ding's family served as a tangible cautionary tale, prompting a re-evaluation of their attitudes. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1515. Result upon their return to Huning City, Zhou Chong and the others recounted the events in Shouting Village to Ding Xiang. She smiled joyfully and expressed regret. What a pity! It would have been even more interesting if I had seen it with my own eyes. Learning of Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou's well-being and their unwavering support, Ding Xiang contemplated when she would go back. This realization meant that, in the couple's hearts, their daughter held greater importance than the scornful family they left behind. Anticipating the likely tantrum from her original host's grandparents after receiving the numerous gifts, Ding Xiang envisioned her father compromising. Once he acquiesced, these gifts would symbolize the final fulfillment of her filial piety. Henceforth, she planned to sever all ties and never look back, harboring no interest in encountering them again. The prospect of her original host's parents facing hardship due to the old woman's oppression no longer concerned her. Ding Xiang found solace in the fact that her father could withstand the turmoil and pressure from the elderly couple. As for Xiao Xian, Xiao Yunduan, and the others, they departed Huning City and lodged in an inn within a small town for the night. Xiao Yunduan, in consultation with Sun Bai and Sun Qian, urged them to remain vigilant on their journey to the capital. Acknowledging that the potential danger persisted until they returned to the capital, Xiao Yunduan emphasized the need to swiftly conceal all traces. By the time the capital reacted and dispatched investigators, any evidence would be elusive. While others might find safety in such actions, for Xiao Yunduan, Xiao Xian, and even Xiao Wei, this marked the beginning of a new chapter. Sun Bai, Sun Qian, and the dozens of elite guards from the East Palace remained vigilant, shielding Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 days had passed, and everything proceeded smoothly. With another 10 days until the potential return to the capital in late September, anticipation filled the air, sparking excitement among the group. Even Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan found a sense of relief. One evening, they arrived at Yanzhou. The local magistrate, informed in advance, organized a banquet to welcome them. Simultaneously, the magistrate's wife arranged a gathering in the backyard, inviting local ladies to accompany them, extending a special invitation to Xiao Xian and Xiao Wei. The women concluded their festivities early, fatigued from the journey. They returned home to freshen up, and Xiao Xian, mindful of her husband's exertion, sent Li Xia and others to rest while she sought reprieve herself. Reflecting on her concerns about the strain her husband endured on the way back to the capital, Xiao Xian pondered the toll such events took. While a small town might offer respite, a state or county residence often led to grand banquets. It would be manageable if they were aware of their imminent travels the next day, but sometimes they encountered hosts eager to prolong the evening, organizing elaborate performances and encouraging prolonged revelry. Such well-intentioned yet tiring gatherings often involved drinks, dance, and fervent wishes to keep the festivities alive until dawn. As Xiao Xian contemplated these thoughts, a sense of foreboding crept over her. Before she could discern the cause, a sudden, intense pain and dizziness overwhelmed her. Her vision darkened, and she slumped to the ground, losing consciousness. Upon regaining awareness, Xiao Xian found herself bound and gagged, a cloth stifling her cries. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1516. Unexpectedly, it had been the rival activating her superpower. Xiao Xian realized she was seated in a simple intermediate sedan chair, swiftly carried by 2 sedan chairmen through the forest. 4 individuals led the way and covered the rear, leaving her uncertain about their destination and temporarily unable to escape. While she could control plans to attack, breaking free from the restraints on her body proved challenging. As they ascended the mountain, any attempt to use her powers to trip them risked her own fall. Despite her predicament, Xianxia found relief, contemplating where they might be taking her. Her primary concern, however, was for Xiao Yunduan. Aware that her disappearance would undoubtedly cause anxiety for her husband, Xianxia hoped he would quickly find composure. Recognizing her own lapse in vigilance, she mused on her journey. Initially cautious, she unconsciously relaxed upon reaching the relay station, assuming safety. The past 10 days had been uneventful, leading to a gradual relaxation of her guard. Moreover, both she and Sun Bai believed that Xiao Yunduan would be the target of their adversaries. After all, in everyone's perception, she was closely associated with Xiao Yunduan, making her a potential starting point for solving the perceived problem. To her surprise, she became the target instead. Xianxia pondered the motives behind her abduction. Were they attempting to use her as leverage to coerce Xiao Yunduan into submission? As a woman, could they genuinely believe that a man with a promising future would bow down to a woman? Questions raced through her mind. Could they not handle the situation themselves? If not, why assume Xiao Yunduan could achieve what they could not? As the sedan chair continued its journey, she heard the words, "Here we are. This is it." Hearing voices, the sedan chair jolted to a rough stop. Sensing the commotion, Xianxia shut her eyes, relaxed her body, and feigned unconsciousness. Despite her closed eyelids, she sensed a sudden surge of brightness and felt someone attempting to pull her out. Her eyelids twitched, and she cautiously opened her eyes, locking gazes with the man. Startled by her apparent awakening, the man halted, his sneer revealing his disdain. "Madame Xiao is awake." Xianxia shot him a fierce glare. The man's sneer deepened. "Come on." Seizing her arm, he forcibly guided her to stand, prompting Xianxia to rise unsteadily. Her hands were bound behind her, but her feet remained unrestricted. Assessing the surroundings through her powers, she realized they were situated in a remote forest, far removed from the city. They stood halfway up a concealed mountain, with a broad cave more than 10 meters behind them. Was their intent to confine her within this cave? Before she could process further, a push urged her towards the cave entrance. "Move!" Complying, Xianxia lowered her gaze and stepped obediently into the cavern. The 6 men clad in green, supposedly guarding her, conversed among themselves with laughter, displaying an air of relaxation. They didn't take Xianxia seriously, viewing her merely as a feeble woman unlikely to risk fleeing into the woods. Guarding her seemed a trivial task in their eyes. Regrettably, their time and energy invested in this desolate place were futile. The oppressive atmosphere suggested an impending sense of suffocation. Once inside the cave, Xianxia found a spot against the wall, quietly lowering her head. Observing her subdued demeanor, one of the men glanced over and sneered, "You're so quiet. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 15-17, Kidnapped Another person chimed in, as expected of the wife of the Primus. "She's also much bolder than others. She's very tactful." Hearing this, the others cast glances at Xianxia, exchanging surprised looks. Indeed, any other lady would have been terrified and tearful, yet Madame Xiao remained silent since waking up, exuding an uncanny calmness. Could it be that the wife of the Primus was truly exceptional? Listen carefully, be honest. The area within a radius of dozens of kilometers is filled with deep mountains and forests. There are ferocious beasts and countless poisonous snakes and insects. If you dare to have any thoughts of escaping, I advise you to quickly give up on that idea. Internally cursing at the irony of being lectured while bound and gagged, Xianxia grumbled. "You've blocked my mouth and tied me up. How do you expect me to run away? Why bother with such unnecessary warnings?" Ignoring her, the 6 individuals settled on the ground, engaging in casual conversation before succumbing to sleep. Clearly exhausted from transporting her to this remote location, the snoring of one person grated on Xiaoxian's nerves. Frustrated, she thought, can't you all be a bit more conscious of guarding a hostage? Is it wise to sleep so soundly? How little regard you have for me. Is this your idea of being non-threatening or just plain insulting? Attempting to move her arm, she quickly dismissed the idea of breaking free. Their high regard for her was evident in the flexible and professionally applied rope. If it were he might have found a way out, but for her, escape seemed impossible. All Xianxia could do was wait for them to remember to untie her, biding her time for future plans. The 6 of them slept deeply, unaware of the passing time. As they stirred awake, the sky was painted with the hues of sunset, signaling the approaching darkness. Surprised by their prolonged slumber, they grumbled amongst themselves and swiftly dispersed to gather firewood, kindle a fire, fetch water, and procure dry rations. Observing only 2 remaining individuals in the cave, Xianxia attempted to struggle against her restraints. Angrily, the 2 men scowled at her. "What are you doing?" Xianxia strained, her eyes wide with effort. Impatiently, one of them stepped closer and brusquely removed the cloth gagging her. "Shut up." Sighing softly, Xianxia pleaded, "Sir, could you untie me? I can't escape from this place. It's incredibly uncomfortable staying here all day." Glancing at her, the man considered her request. Realizing her odds of escape were slim, untying her would relieve the burden of keeping a constant watch. He sneered in response, "Behave yourself." With her hands freed, Xianxia massaged her bruised and bloodied wrists, inwardly sneering at their complacency. Once liberated, they could abandon hope of apprehending her. Gently flexing her legs, Xianxia stood up and quietly made her way out of the cave. "Stop! What do you think you're doing?" In a hushed tone, Xianxia addressed them, "Lord, I need to release myself." The 2 men overheard her and erupted into crude laughter. One of them teasingly remarked, "Oh, I see. But it's not safe outside. Shall I accompany you, Madam Xiao?" "Ha! If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 15:18. Easily dealing with feigning embarrassment, Xianxia lowered her head and ran out. The 2 men laughed boisterously behind her, with one of them still making wretched comments. "Sigh, what a shame. What a pity." Another playfully scolded him, "Rein in your thoughts. She's the wife of the Primus and the Minister of Revenue." The person sneered, "Do I need you to tell me? Don't I know?" While they had captured the wife of an imperial court official, the wife of the Primus, they wouldn't dare harm her. Word could easily spread, and the consequences would be dire. His Highness, the Crown Prince, was already in a fierce political struggle with Lord Xiao. If Lord Xiao and his wife were killed, the blame would fall on Lord Xiao, but harming Madame Xiao would be a different matter. His Highness would be deemed shameless, leading officials to question their allegiance. Xianxia utilized her superpower to locate the 2 men collecting firewood nearby. Using a rock, she swiftly incapacitated them. Before they could raise an alarm, she silenced them with a stuffing of grass and gravel in their mouths, securely tying them up and concealing them in thick bushes. Indifferent to their fate, Xianxia left it to their luck. These assailants dared to ambush and capture her, and she saw no reason to be polite. Opting for leniency, she refrained from using her powers to strangle them directly with vines. Continuing her search with her superpower, Xianxia intercepted the 2 men collecting water on their way back to the cave. Knocking them out, she tied them up and discreetly concealed them in the lush grass. Easily maneuvering in her forest surroundings, Xianxia ensured they would wake up unaware of the events that transpired, only realizing they were ambushed and unconscious. Surveying the area, she located a spot to rest. The cave lacked cover, and she needed to wait until the 2 men entered the forest. While she had the option to take action openly, doing so in an exposed space would draw unnecessary attention. She refrained from revealing her superpower to anyone, not intending to let others know. As the sun gradually set in the west, the afterglow faded and dusk descended. The mountain rocks cast long shadows, dimming the surroundings. In the cave, The two men finally sensed something amiss. The person who went outside seemed to be taking an unusually long time. Concerned, one of them speculated, did that woman manage to escape? The other, feeling uneasy, frowned. This, out in the middle of nowhere. How could she dare? While they weren't overly anxious about their comrades, assuming they might have encountered wild animals, Madame Xiao's prolonged absence unsettled them. Both men regretted their confidence, realizing that if they had foreseen this, they wouldn't have been so certain she wouldn't dare to run. Someone should have shadowed her from a distance. She might not have escaped. Perhaps she got lost? Yes, that seems the most likely explanation. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1519. Overnight? Let's go and look. Absolutely. The two hastily grabbed their weapons and left the cave. Knowing that His Highness intended to use Xiao Xian to deal with Lord Xiao, they couldn't afford anything happening to Madame Xiao now. Losing her due to their negligence would certainly lead to consequences from His Highness. Their certainty that Xiao Xian wouldn't dare to venture far left them dumbfounded, clueless about her whereabouts. They chose a direction with less difficulty and fewer trees, searching together. Regardless of their chosen path, Xiao Xian managed to elude them once again. Returning to the cave with a triumphant clap, Xiao Xian found solace in its secrecy. Equipped with bamboo mats, blankets, and pillows, she fashioned a comfortable space. While her space held the aroma of rice, noodles, and eggs, she opted for pastries and fresh fruits, avoiding further movement. The night had fallen completely, leaving any discussions for tomorrow. Considering what reasonable excuse to provide when she met him later occupied her thoughts. Tomorrow, she planned to use methods to interrogate the captives, even though she was certain it was the fourth prince's doing. Clearing any doubts seemed prudent. That night, Xiao Xian found it difficult to sleep. Firstly, worry for Xiao Yunduan consumed her, leaving her uncertain of his fate after her disappearance. Secondly, her ability to sense everything within her range made her unafraid of beasts or snakes, but only when she was awake. Falling asleep carried the risk of being attacked by a ferocious beast. Despite makeshift beds in the forest, it couldn't provide true comfort. As the long night passed and daylight returned, Xiao Xian felt relief and finally fell into a deep sleep. Upon awakening, more than an hour and a half had passed, with the sun high in the sky. The mountain breeze carried a humid mist, and the birds filled the air with their chirping, creating a refreshing atmosphere. Xiao Xian stretched, packed up her belongings, grabbed some food from her space for breakfast, and set out to find the individuals who had tied her up the previous night. Xiao Xian had scattered them in different locations, sensing their continued survival. None of them had encountered any dangerous beasts, and they were all alive. Struggling fervently, they attempted to expel the gravel, mud, grass, and leaves from their mouths, but all their efforts ended in failure. They had undoubtedly experienced an eventful night, evident from the insect bites on their faces, necks, and hands, marked by red and purple welts. Feeling a sense of satisfaction, Xiao Xian contemplated their plight. Having endured a challenging day yesterday, she felt it was time for them to taste a bit of suffering. Approaching one of them, she witnessed the fierce struggle of a man who, upon hearing the commotion, strained to lift his head. His eyes turned fierce as he intensified his struggle upon spotting Xiao Xian. "Heh!" Xiao Xian sneered from a distance. "My helper has arrived. You deserve your misfortune. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1520. Interrogation. I have a few questions for you. Answer honestly, and you might just make it out of this alive. If you're not up for it, then we can end this right here. I can find someone else willing to cooperate. Let's test your endurance, shall we? Or do you fancy your chances at escape? The man's face contorted, attempting a mocking expression as he continued to glare at Xiao Xian. Remaining composed, Xiao Xian advised, "Think carefully. You've got one shot, and once it's gone, there's no turning back. There are 6 of you, and I don't need your cooperation. I may be just a woman, but cross me, and you won't get off lightly. Consider this. A few scars on your face and hands, would they attract creatures like you? Think about it. Fear replaced anger in the man's eyes as he stared at Xianxia, a chill running down his spine. Madame Xiao's tactics were ruthless. Xianxia smirked. Make your decision, a simple blink will do. No lies unless you think you're cleverer than the Primus wife. The man struggled with his response. He had planned to deceive Xianxia, but her reputation and demeanor intimidated him. She was the wife of the powerful Primus, Lord Xiao, who had chosen her over the elder miss of the Tian family. Her audacity in publicly humiliating the fourth princess consort showcased her extraordinary courage. Facing capture the previous day, she showed no fear. It was evident her resilience surpassed ordinary people. Now, confronted with her stern words, lying seemed impossible. Bound tightly by vines, the man dreaded spending another night in the chaotic grass patch. The mere thought of enduring it was nightmarish. Madame Xiao's threat of cutting his face and hands, possibly attracting swarms of ants, sent shivers down his spine. It was too terrifying. This woman was too terrifying. He teetered on the brink of collapse, anxiously blinking, afraid that Xianxia might renege on her promises. Xianxia chuckled, extracting weeds from his mouth. The man spat out grass and stones, shaking his head, instantly feeling more at ease. To his surprise, Xianxia didn't immediately release him. Instead, he looked at her expectantly, eager for her questions. Anticipating her queries, he couldn't wait for her to be satisfied so that he could be freed. Xianxia regarded him with disdain. Is your master the fourth prince? Guiltily avoiding eye contact, the man nodded stiffly. With a cold tone, Xianxia pressed, Who is working for you in Yenzhou? Yes, Deputy Prefect. What's the purpose of confining me in this place? I don't know. His Highness only ordered us to keep you under house arrest and trap you here. He didn't provide any further instructions. I swear it's the truth. I wouldn't dare lie. Snorting, Xianxia didn't doubt his words. Those assigned such tasks likely lacked knowledge of the upper echelons and merely followed orders without much insight. What plans has the fourth prince made for the Yenzhou residents? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1521, Meeting Xie Jingrong here. I don't know. Xianxia fixed him with a cold stare, making the man's scalp prickle. I genuinely don't know. Our orders were to bring Madam here. We're kept in the dark about everything else. Seems reasonable that someone like you, toiling away at menial tasks, wouldn't be privy to much information. They'll take your word for it. Consider yourselves fortunate. The heavens are merciful. Your lives won't be forfeit today. Walking up to him, Xianxia produced a dagger from her spatial storage and sliced through half of the rattan. Calmly, she instructed, free yourself and put in some hard work. 2 hours should suffice. The man hadn't expected such leniency from Xianxia. With a glimmer of hope, he nodded vigorously. Yes, thank you, Madame Xiao. Xianxia sneered and moved away. The man, relieved but cautious, hurriedly started freeing himself, fearing she might change her mind and dispatch her men to finish the job. Xianxia unleashed her superpower, spreading it across the area. Suddenly, a sharp pain pierced her head. Grunting, she clutched her temples, seeking support from a nearby tree. After a while, she sighed in relief, slowly regaining composure. She had retracted her superpower, recognizing that she had likely strained herself by using it excessively. Continued use could jeopardize her physical well-being. It became clear she needed to exercise caution and minimize superpower usage for the time being. In releasing it earlier, she hadn't reached the forest's edge, leaving her disoriented about the closest direction to Yenzhou. Xianxia grumbled inwardly. These people moved too swiftly, covering quite a distance on foot. However, she beamed and gazed in a specific direction. Her luck had always been on her side. Even if she hadn't found the right path, she stumbled upon someone she knew. Unexpectedly, it was Xie Jingrong. It had been 2 years since their last encounter, right? Mr. Xie, draped in white, exuded an aura of gentle elegance. A sense of familiarity washed over Xiaoxian at the sight of her old friend. Xie Jingrong, along with Xie Dong, Xie Shi, and an unfamiliar servant, stood in front of a waterfall about 15 miles away. The cascading water created a rumbling sound, and the surroundings were picturesque. Xie Jingrong stood contemplatively in front of the waterfall, seemingly there to appreciate the mountain scenery. With them in close proximity, Xiaoxian knew that the master and servant likely knew the way out. Locating them would solve her predicament. Although she couldn't use her superpowers to navigate the forest, periodic checks on Xie Jingrong's position were still within her capabilities. Guided by her superpower, Xiaoxian moved towards Xie Jingrong without hesitation, brimming with excitement. The waterfall's scenic beauty was captivating. Xie Jingrong showed no sign of immediate departure, and lunchtime was approaching. The prospect of the master and servant lingering for a meal and brief rest worked in Xiaoxian's favor. Xiaoxian's swift pace, a task that might pose difficulties for others in the dense forest, was effortlessly managed by her. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1522. Someone. The lush vegetation and entwined vines in the forest posed no obstacle for Xiaoxian. She effortlessly maneuvered through, avoiding snakes, ants, poisonous insects, and wild beasts with ease. In a mere 2 hours, Xiaoxian reached Xie Jingrong. Xie Jingrong truly came to the mountains to savor the scenery. Over the past 2 years, he had traversed numerous mountains, rivers, famed historical sites, and uncharted forests. His journey held no specific purpose. He did as he pleased. Xie Dong and Xie Shi had already set up a fire, cheerfully roasting 2 pheasants they had caught. Simultaneously, they boiled soup in a medium-sized clay jar. Unaccustomed to hunting, the two hadn't captured these pheasants. Their swiftness was notable, but hunting remained beyond their skills. Another servant, Xie Miao, had taken care of that. Unlike Xie Dong and Xie Shi, Xie Miao, also a member of the Xie family's servant staff, differed in his background. He had practiced martial arts since childhood, ranking among the most skilled among the younger guards. Due to the old Madame Xie's concerns for eldest young master's safety, she assigned Xie Miao to accompany him on his travels. Xie Miao's eyebrows raised, and he spoke in a hushed tone. "Young master, it seems someone is approaching." With a nod and a smile, Xie Jingrong advised, "Just don't startle them." "Understood, young master." Encounters in the wilderness were not novel for them. Woodcutters, hunters, herb gatherers, or those rushing past were common sightings. They had even come to the aid of others twice before. What they didn't expect this time was encountering a woman. Both Xie Miao and Xiaoxian were momentarily taken aback, but Xiaoxian quickly offered a friendly smile. Xie Miao froze, eyeing Xiaoxian with wariness. A rush of thoughts flooded his mind. Was she a demon, a fae, or some kind of spirit? The presence of a young single woman in such pristine condition within the wilderness was already peculiar. Her friendly smile, as if they were acquainted, only heightened the strangeness. Truth be told, he didn't recognize her at all. Observing Xie Miao's cautious reaction, Xiaoxian felt a twinge of annoyance. Despite her knowing who this man was and where Xie Jingrong could be found, he had never met her and remained oblivious to her identity. Directly asking Xie Jingrong might raise suspicions, so she refrained. The situation was indeed unusual, smiling at a stranger alone in the deep mountains and forest. Normally, when a young woman encountered a man in such a place, her instinct would be fear and a scream. Xiaoxian pondered if she had miscalculated. When she smiled, she had to feign ignorance, giving her smile a strained quality as if she were forcing it. Her semi-forced smile attempted to conceal her feigned calmness and vigilance. Big brother? Are you a hunter from the mountains or perhaps a villager from a nearby village?" Xie Miao's suspicion began to waver slightly as he sensed her pretense of calmness. This was the cue for Xiaoxian to continue, I don't know how to get out of here." Xie Miao couldn't ignore the fact that the woman had something important to convey. While he wasn't eager to pry, thinking of his young master made him hesitate. Finally, he relented. Follow me. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1523. Almost going wrong. The young master was compassionate. If this woman had faced persecution and lost her way in the forest, the young master would undoubtedly feel remorse if he didn't offer assistance. Surprisingly, the man changed his mind swiftly, leaving Xiao Xian pleased. She nodded gratefully. Thank you, big brother. Xie Miao shot her a brief glance and led her back. Upon Xiao Xian's arrival, Xie Dong and Xie Shi turned around instinctively, their mouths agape in shock. Equally taken aback, Xiao Xian cried out and stared at them in bewilderment. She then turned to Xie Jingrong, whose back was initially facing her, and asked tentatively, Are you, young Master Xie? This time, it was Xie Miao's turn to widen his eyes. Xie Jingrong's heart skipped a beat. He swiftly turned around, confirming Xiao Xian's identity. Madame Xiao. Rushing toward her, he bombarded her with questions. What are you doing here? Where's Lord Xiao? What's going on? Xie Miao scratched his head, feeling a bit overwhelmed. Something seemed amiss. Attempting to feign distress, Xiao Xian managed to muster a thin layer of mist in her eyes. Young Master Xie, I'm so fortunate. She sighed with a mix of surprise and joy. It's a long story. Xie Jingrong invited her to sit under a tree and discuss matters. Meanwhile, he instructed Xie Dong and Xie Shi to roast meat and prepare soup. Are you hungry, Madame Xiao? Have something to eat first. Feeling a bit hungry, Xiao Xian nodded and expressed her gratitude. She then recounted her tale. Most details were straightforward, but Xiao Xian needed a plausible explanation for how she single-handedly incapacitated the 6 assailants. Consequently, she claimed to have fortuitously acquired potent knockout medicines during her time in the capital of Qingdi. Given the tumultuous journey, she kept these medicines handy for emergencies. Surprisingly, those acquired knockout medicines proved invaluable, providing the means to incapacitate the assailants and secure their escape. In the dense forest, determining the correct direction proved challenging. Xiao Xian, feeling helpless, decided to choose a direction arbitrarily. Her plan was to walk and assess the situation, opting to swim downstream if she encountered a river. As luck would have it, I never expected to encounter you, young Master Xie. My luck is truly remarkable. Xiao Xian's bright smile lifted Xie Jingrong's spirits. Madame Xiao, fret not. Let's take a break, and we'll head to Yanzhou City. Lord Xiao and the others must be anxiously awaiting us. Thank you, young master. I'm truly sorry for disrupting your peace this time. No need, Madame Xiao. I didn't have any specific plans. My whereabouts aren't a concern. Seemingly casually, Xie Jingrong asked Xiao Xian about the direction she came from. Standing, he signaled for Xie Miao to join him. Go back and find them. Take care of those people. Xie Miao was momentarily stunned. The eldest son of the Xie family wasn't a mere scholar but the heir to the family. Such a directive wasn't unusual. Yet, Xie Miao noted that it was the first time his young master had explicitly asked him to eliminate a group of individuals. He comprehended the implications behind, take care of those people. Young master, I can't leave your side. What if? There's no what if. A journey of a few miles is nothing to you. Go and return quickly. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1524. Asking for that, Xie Miao hesitated, ready to voice that it might not be necessary. After all, wasn't Madame Xiao already out of danger? Why resort to killing them all? Unbeknownst to him, Xie Jingrong's intention was to eliminate those individuals as a warning to the 4th prince and to prevent any potential loose talk. While Xiao Xian, as a court official's wife, was unlikely to face harm from the 4th prince's orders, assuming the 4th prince had a modicum of sense, It wasn't guaranteed that the servants wouldn't spread inappropriate rumors once they were outside. Xie Jingrong couldn't afford to let Xiao Xian's name be associated with any untoward words. To him, a few expendable servants were inconsequential when weighed against Xiao Xian's reputation. The plan was to discreetly dispose of them to ensure Xiao Xian's name remained untarnished. Having spent an entire day and night in captivity, Xiao Xian was rescued halfway through the next day. Although she was with Xie Jingrong for the entire duration, she needed some time to recover from the ordeal. It was a flawed plan, hoping that Xiao Yunduan would keep Xiao Xian's disappearance a secret, allowing for a quiet return without anyone being the wiser. Understanding his young master's temperament, Xie Miao sighed and reluctantly agreed, heading to silence those people. Once Xiao Xian departed, the man swiftly struggled free from the vines, surprising Xiao Xian with his speed. While the fourth prince's men were competent, they were no match for Xiao Xian in the forest. After breaking free, the man hurriedly sought out his companions. In no time, all 6 of them were liberated. Throughout the night, the 6 endured mosquito bites and the relentless mountain wind. Bound by the unforgiving mountain vines, their limbs and bloodlines tormented them, causing intense suffering. Gritting their teeth, their expressions contorted in ferocious curses. Enraged and battered, they harbored a burning desire to extract revenge on Xiao Xian. The ordeal had left them terrified. Simultaneously, a chill ran down their spines as they contemplated their near-death experience. Fortunately, the individuals who intervened and attacked were solely focused on rescuing Xiao Xian and didn't go as far as killing them. The realization sank in, Xiao Xian was the sole mastermind, and no one was coming to their rescue. After some time, the 6 regained their composure. Seated together, they engaged in a heated discussion, their emotions a turbulent mix of anger and fear. Perplexed, they couldn't fathom how the rescue team had arrived so swiftly, catching them completely off guard. Their predicament was a result of their own negligence and overconfidence. Convinced that no one would locate them, they had let their guard down, becoming unsuspecting victims of Xiao Xian's plot. They acknowledged that a touch more vigilance would have averted this calamity. Initially deeming the task straightforward, they had instead bungled it entirely. Their survival now hinged on the mercy of the other party. What course of action should they take? Returning in this state, they were certain that His Highness wouldn't show them any leniency. Chase her? We must pursue her. We need to reclaim her. No time to waste. Let's go now. Agreed. Chasing Xiao Xian became imperative. Whether they could successfully retrieve her was uncertain, but at the very least, they needed to convey to His Highness that they had made every effort. Upon Xiao Xian's departure, she inadvertently left a trail of crushed grass and scattered leaves, a subtle sign that might escape ordinary notice but was sufficient for them. Little did the 6 unsuspecting individuals realize that, by giving chase, they were unwittingly tempting fate. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1525. Thought Xie Miao diligently traced the signs left by Xiao Xian and soon located the group on their way back. With skills surpassing theirs, he expertly concealed himself and caught them off guard. Swiftly deploying poisonous hidden weapons, he killed 2 instantly and left 2 injured before they could recover from their initial shock. By the time the last one attempted to flee, Xie Miao swiftly caught up and dispatched him with a single strike. Glancing at the fallen 6, Xie Miao nonchalantly sheathed his sword. In the desolate mountains with few inhabitants and scant decent paths, the remains would be swiftly claimed by the voracious beasts. There was no need for him to trouble himself with cleaning up the aftermath. Unbeknownst to anyone, Xiao Xian's account to Xie Jingrong was truthful, and there was no reason to doubt her words. Worried about his young master, Xie Miao hastened his return. To his surprise, he found Madame Xiao unconscious, lying on the soft grass beneath a tree's shade. Xie Jingrong, along with Xie Dong and Xie Shi, appeared visibly concerned. Shocked, Xie Miao approached and exclaimed, "Young master!" Xie Jingrong diverted his attention from Xiao Xian, casting a glance at Xie Miao. She might have fainted from shock and exhaustion. I fear she won't be fit to travel tonight. Find a suitable spot, and well spend the night in the forest. Given her current state, it was uncertain when she would regain consciousness, and her tired body warranted rest. Considering this, Xie Miao agreed and instructed Xie Dong and Xie Shi to locate a suitable spot for the night. Observing Qiao Xian, Xie Jingrong felt not concern about the night ahead but a subtle sense of happiness. She was unlike any other woman he had encountered. Initially driven by curiosity, he unwittingly delved deeper into her world. The more attention he paid, the more intriguing she became, imprinting herself in his heart, an indelible mark that refused to fade. He acknowledged the wrongness of these sentiments, understanding that he shouldn't feel this way. But attempts to uproot these feelings only intensified them. Though outwardly composed, concealing his thoughts from others, he grappled with an internal turmoil. During that period, his heart churned with pain, fearing that one day he'd be unable to conceal his emotions from her, leading to an awkward confrontation. Seeking solace, he left the province, wandering in an attempt to forget. Unexpectedly, fate intervened, and their reunion unfolded dramatically under unforeseen circumstances. Only her presence and no one else. In Xie Jingrong's heart, a whirlwind of emotions stirred. Joy, surprise, disappointment, and loneliness intertwined, creating a complex tapestry of feelings. Yet joy predominated. This unexpected journey presented a unique opportunity to be alone with her, to observe her without any pretense. About 2 hours later, Qiao Xian stirred, awakening to the unfolding chapter of their shared journey. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1526. Perseverance. Slowly opening her eyes, Qiao Xian experienced a brief moment of confusion as she took in the sight of the blue sky and treetops. Xie Jingrong, masking his emotions, greeted her with a gentle smile. "Madam Xiao, are you awake? Are you feeling unwell? You scared me when you fainted just now. Luckily, your pulse and breathing are normal. I think you must be too tired." A hint of embarrassment crossed Qiao Xian's face as she sat up slowly with her hands. Xie Jingrong instinctively reached out to assist but hesitated and withdrew his hands. "Maybe I'm really tired. I'm fine now. Fortunately, I was lucky to meet you, young Master Xie." Xie Jingrong responded with a gentle smile, his eyes reflecting kindness. "Don't worry, I will ensure you reach Yanzhou City safely." Qiao Xian exclaimed, turning her gaze skyward. "No time to lose, young master, let's go now." Despite having at least 3 or 4 hours before nightfall, she urged Xie Jingrong to hasten their pace to exit the forest and reach a farmhouse by dusk. Frowning in disagreement, Xie Jingrong voiced concern. "But I'm afraid your body can't endure it. Don't worry, with Xie Miao here, you'll be safe spending the night in the mountains." With the 6 unstable factors resolved, there seemed no imminent need for action. However, Qiao Xian was anxious, pleading, "No, I've been missing for a night and a day. I won't be back until tomorrow. I don't know what's happening there, so I have to return as soon as possible. I'm already rested. It's okay, let's get going." More pressing was Qiao Xian's realization that her superpower was weakening. Despite feeling physically rested, her ability was severely diminished. Now, she could only sense a radius of about 3,000 to 4,000 meters. If she intended to manipulate vines and plants for an attack, the potency would be significantly diminished. She doubted her ability to handle the 6 individuals from yesterday in a single stroke. The reason behind this sudden weakening of her superpower eluded her, leaving uncertainty about its fate, whether it would continue to wane or vanish altogether. While panic was a natural response, she reminded herself that the superpower had been an unexpected anomaly. If it faded away, acceptance was the only option. Concerns lingered, however, regarding potential effects on her body. A further weakening or the risk of fainting in this challenging environment would pose significant problems. Although aware that Xie Jingrong wouldn't abandon her, it would undoubtedly burden him. In a village, securing a carriage would simplify their travel. The thought triggered a pang of discomfort in Xie Jingrong's heart. Observing Xiao Xian's anxiety, he initially attributed it to her worry for Xiao Yunduan. Yet, upon reflection, he acknowledged the genuine affection between the couple, understanding her longing for him. Contemplating the likely unfavorable situation in Yenzhou City, Xie Jingrong hesitated. "Are you truly okay?" Xiao Xian affirmed, "I am fine truly. Let's hurry and leave before nightfall. We can't afford to waste any more time." "Very well," Xie Jingrong sighed with a smile. "If you're not well, you must inform me, or I fear Lord Xiao will chase after me." Xiao Xian burst into laughter. "He won't do. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1527. Something happened. Xie Dong and Xie Shi set out to locate Xie Miao, and the five of them departed together. As they traversed the path from which Xie Jingrong had come, he appeared visibly anxious throughout the journey. His gaze frequently shifted towards Xiao Xian, prompting him to inquire if she needed to rest or if she felt uncomfortable pushing herself forward. Xiao Xian admitted to feeling a bit tired and weak, but fortunately, her superpower remained unaffected, providing her with some relief and enabling her to persevere. After taking 3 breaks, they emerged from the forest after sunset, bathed in the radiant afterglow of the setting sun. Located less than 5 miles from the forest, a village with over 100 families presented itself. Xie Dong approached a local family, securing permission for the group to stay. Given the distance of more than 30 miles from Yenzhou City, entering the city that night was impractical. Thus, Xie Jingrong suggested that Xie Miao enter the city at dawn the next day to gather information and arrange for a reliable carriage. Xie Miao readily agreed. Xie Jingrong, Xiao Xian, and Xiao Yunduan were acquainted, so the attention Xie Dong and Xie Shi observed their young master paying to Xiao Xian did not strike them as odd. Instead, they deemed it perfectly natural. While Xie Miao was unfamiliar with Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan, he was aware that his young master had 2 friends. However, he couldn't help but sense something amiss in the way his young master was particularly attentive to Madame Xiao. With the assistance of local farmers, the group, despite facing basic conditions, managed to enjoy a warm meal and secure a place to sleep. The night passed in tranquility. Before the break of dawn, Xie Miao was dispatched to the city by his young master to wake him up. Xie Miao. Choosing silence, Xie Miao accepted his destiny without protest. In the city, everything appeared normal. Li Xia and Li Qiu, who had retired for some rest, remained oblivious to Xiao Xian's absence until they were awakened by Xiao Yunduan returning from the banquet. Upon hearing the news, both were so terrified that their faces paled, and tears welled up in their eyes. Anxious and irritated, Xiao Yunduan, unable to extract any information from them, instructed them to secure the room and prevent anyone from entering. He then proceeded stern-faced to Qiao Wei's location. At that moment, Minyan was already asleep, sharing the same room as Qiao Wei. Qiao Wei lay on the bed, while Minyan rested on the couch. They had not left each other's side. Yi occupied the outer room of the bedroom. Although Qiao Wei harbored some dissatisfaction, her survival took precedence, so she refrained from voicing any objections. Upon Xiao Yunduan's arrival, Yi woke up first. "Lord, wake Qiao Wei." Xiao Yunduan's face turned a shade of green. While Yi was unaware of the details, the intensity of the adult's anger indicated that this was no ordinary matter. Annoyed, he couldn't help but wonder if Qiao Wei was some kind of supernatural being. He and Mian hadn't left each other's side even for an inch. Could she have found an opportunity to turn into a demon, a fae, or some other malevolent entity? Agreeing, he hastily knocked on the door to summon Mian. Mian rubbed her eyes, sat up, and responded. She dressed quickly and went to wake Qiao Wei. Qiao Wei, feigning ignorance, attempted to ignore the commotion. The moment she emerged from the bedroom, Xiao Yunduan kicked Qiao Wei so forcefully that she cried out in pain, collapsing to the ground. Clutching her chest, she looked up in shock and anger. "You!" Xiao Yunduan maintained a stoic expression on his cold face and spoke in an icy tone. "What have you done?" Qiao Wei was taken aback, and a sudden realization struck her. Something must have happened to Xiao Xian. It was only when Xiao Xian was involved that Xiao Yunduan would exhibit such demeanor. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1528. Not a threat. Envy, undoubtedly, tinged her emotions, yet her joy nearly betrayed itself through a smile. However, as Xiao Yunduan's cold gaze met hers, any hint of happiness evaporated. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't know. Xiao Yunduan advanced slowly, indifferent to the fact that Xiao Wei was far less robust than him. He pressed the sole of his foot onto the back of her hand. Xiao Wei, startled, tried to retract her hand, but Xiao Yunduan tightened his grip. As pain surged through her, Xiao Wei, gripped by fear, paled, immobilized. What do you want? Xiao Yunduan spoke with a frigid tone. Answer my question. Tell me the truth. I don't care how you communicate with outsiders. Understand this well. You're still within my grasp. Even if I can't end your life, dismantling you will be effortless. Would you like to test that? Xiao Wei's eyes widened in fear, a shiver coursing down her spine. She was afraid of Xiao Yunduan. When this fear began, she couldn't pinpoint. She knew his words weren't mere threats. I truly don't know. I'm clueless. Xiao Wei lost control and sobbed. I'm under constant surveillance by those two every day. What can I possibly do? Moreover, you're aware I'm just a pawn in their game. Qiu He is already dead. They know their plan is exposed. Why would they come after me? Xiao Yunduan's cold countenance remained impassive. You'd better stay ignorant, or I won't spare you. Henceforth, keep silent. I won't hesitate to take action if you disclose anything. Xiao Wei didn't dare to object. Trembling, she asked with a quivering voice, Did something happen to Xiao Xian? Xiao Yunduan shot her a sharp look. Her heart skipped a beat, and she dared not press further. She's unwell. Mian Mian instantly grew anxious. Sir, is Madam all right? It's fine, Xiao Yunduan reassured. She just needs some rest. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I won't disturb Madam now. I'll pay my respects to her tomorrow. Xiao Yunduan nodded, casting a glance at Xiao Wei. Keep an eye on her. Don't worry, my lord. Xiao Yunduan departed. Xiao Wei let out a sigh of relief and slumped to the ground. After a moment, she shakily rose to her feet. Xiao Yunduan informed Sun Bai, Sun Qian, and Yi, Madam is missing. The three of them were shocked. How is that possible? We've secured the post house since our arrival, maintained night patrols, and stayed vigilant. We didn't dare to be careless. How could, in a hushed tone, Xiao Yunduan interjected, we are not the hosts here, so nothing should surprise us. Fortunately, she's only missing. I'm uncertain of their motives, but my wife should be safe. This information must not leak. Publicly, we'll say Madam is unwell, and we need to extend our stay in Yenzhou City for 2 more days. Yi, keep a close watch on Xiao Wei. Sun Bai, Sun Qian, discreetly deploy your trusted aides to search for Madam. She's not an ordinary woman who breaks down in the face of trouble. If there's a chance, she'll leave some clues. Pay extra attention. And keep an eye on the local officials. Sun Bai and Sun Qian responded in hushed tones. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1529. Arrangement. The two of them exchanged glances. While their instinct was to search for Madam, a lingering fear persisted that the other party might be attempting to lure them away and create a diversion. Thus, they couldn't afford to let their guard down. Xiao Yunduan then issued a directive to Yi. Tomorrow, you and Mian Mian will escort Xiao Wei to Madam's side. Li Xia and Li Qiu alone won't suffice. Keep a close watch on Xiao Wei. Don't allow her any chance for deceit or subterfuge. Xiao Yunduan harbored suspicions that someone was involved in this matter. If they had succeeded in some plot, they would likely take actions to reveal the fact that his wife was missing. Li Xia and Li Qiu might not be equipped to handle such a situation. That night, Although the intermediate station appeared calm and ordinary, secret arrangements were being made. The next day, news circulated that Xianxia had caught a cold, necessitating the entire team to stay temporarily at the station. Upon hearing the news, the prefectural magistrate's wife, accompanied by the deputy prefect's wife and the two strategists' wives, paid a visit. With Xiao Wei present, she had to extend greetings to the magistrate's wife. Mian and Li Xia were also present, while Li Qiu remained with Xiao Xian to attend to her. Xiao Wei wasn't naive. She had pondered the situation throughout the night and suspected that something serious had happened to Xiao Xian, beyond a mere cold. The abrupt kick from Xiao Yunduan in the middle of the night only strengthened her conviction. Thinking of the kick, a dull pain pierced her chest, making her slightly anxious. Yet, an undercurrent of excitement and satisfaction surged within her. Finally, something had befallen that woman. It must be a significant event, and she believed she deserved it. Internally pleased, she refrained from entertaining any thoughts of mischief, especially after Xiao Yunduan's kick. During the visit of the magistrate's wife and others, she maintained a facade of politeness, asserting that Xiao Xian was indisposed and not receiving visitors. Had it not been for Xiao Yunduan's threat, she would have likely been less forthright. Even if she didn't openly express it, she might have dropped hints or made veiled insinuations. In contrast to her current honesty, when the deputy prefect's wife expressed deep concern and repeatedly expressed her desire to personally visit Madame Xiao Wei had no option but to express genuine gratitude and politely decline. When the prefectural magistrate's wife proposed hiring a local doctor with exceptional medical skills, Xiao Wei endured her irritation and politely refused. The missed opportunity to stir up trouble irked Xiao Wei to the point of near exasperation. She couldn't seize the chance right in front of her due to fear and had to cover up for Xiao Xian. At noon, the prefect's wife and the deputy prefect's wife returned. Accompanied by 3 maids and 2 servants, they brought soup for Xiao Xian. A servant cheerfully called out, "Miss Li Xia, Miss Li Qiu?" With an air of ease, they ascended the stairs with their offerings. The servant smiled and remarked, "What a coincidence! Both our madam and the deputy prefect's madam have instructed the kitchen to prepare this soup. We're here to deliver it to Madame Xiao. This soup contains ginseng and wolfberries. It's highly nourishing." Li Xia and Li Qiu promptly intervened. "The magistrate's wife and the deputy prefect's wife are too gracious. Leave the soup with us. Our mistress has just taken her medicine and is currently asleep. We cannot disturb her. We'll inform her upon waking. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1530. Visit the maidservant expressed concern, saying, "I understand. Madame Xiao's sudden illness must be distressing. Our madam specifically instructed us to convey our regards and assess Madame Xiao's condition. We'll inform her upon our return. Could you allow us to enter and perform a kowtow? We assure you that we'll stand at a distance and not disturb Madame Xiao." Another servant added, "Absolutely. Our madam also emphasized the same. Miss, please consider allowing just the 2 of us to enter. By offering our respects and a quick glance, we can provide a reassuring report to Madam." Indeed. Li Xia and Li Qiu concealed their annoyance. Initially skeptical of the old master's warning about potential troublemakers, they now found themselves facing the reality of unwanted guests. As Li Xia and Li Qiu spoke, their expressions betrayed some irritation. It seemed that these visitors had intentions beyond mere well-wishing. "Everyone, please return. Our madam is currently not receiving guests. Once she recovers and regains her strength, she will naturally meet with you." Recognizing the dubious intentions of the visitors, Li Xia and Li Qiu wore unpleased expressions. Their tone was cold, and their displeasure was evident. In truth, the maids and servants sent by the deputy prefect's wife were also perplexed. They didn't understand why they were instructed to perform kowtows and pay respects to Madame Xiao. While the deputy prefect's wife cited it as a matter of etiquette, the genuine concern for Madame Xiao prompted some uncertainty. Even though they felt it might be excessive, they adhered to the instructions, trusting that the madam had her reasons. The aides from the prefectural magistrate's wife sided with the deputy prefect's wife's maid, aligning with her expressed concern for Madame Xiao. Failing to show adequate concern might imply a lack of consideration on their madam's part, a scenario they wished to avoid. Xianxia and Liqia's frosty expressions and cold tone made the servants from the magistrate's wife uneasy, considering a retreat. However, those from the deputy prefect's wife's side remained entangled, hesitant to concede the matter. She displayed such fervor that it made her uneasy about Madame Xiao's absence. Xianxia and Liqiao were both irritated and vexed, but the other party seemed oblivious to their sentiments. To their surprise, the two maids carrying the food box attempted to bypass them and enter the house. Liqiao, alarmed, exclaimed, "Stop, what are you doing?" A maidservant pulled Liqiao aside, smiling forcefully. "Miss Liqiao, Miss Xianxia, our madam is genuinely concerned. She frets over Madame Xiao and wishes to..." Before she could finish, another maidservant hastily interrupted, smiling at the other, "Let's enter and pay our respects to Madame Xiao. We can explain to Madam when we return." The other maidservant remained perplexed, not grasping the situation. "Huh!" She instinctively resisted being pulled away. "All of you, halt!" Despite Xianxia and Liqiao being restrained and pulled by others, the ongoing arguments drowned out their attempts to communicate effectively with the two maidservants heading inside. Mian, who was in the room with Qiao Wei, rushed out, ignoring Qiao Wei. She intercepted the two maidservants. "What are you doing here? You're disturbing Madam," Mian exclaimed. Unexpectedly, a servant forcefully pushed Xianxia aside and barged into the house. "Since Madame Xiao is awake, we should perform a kowtow and pay our respects. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1531. Chased away, the maidservant roughly shoved her once more, causing her to stagger. Just as she attempted to force her way in, a sudden sharp pain in the back of her knees sent her crashing to the ground with a cry. The others were left in shock. Ai, who had just finished lunch, swiftly rushed over. Xianxia and the rest breathed a sigh of relief and complained indignantly, "These insolent servants are intolerable. They insist on intruding to disturb Madam. Please drive them away." Ai agreed and cast a cold gaze in their direction. The maidservants, visibly frightened, instinctively stepped back. Without any ceremony, Ai lifted the fallen woman and casually tossed her aside. She screamed and rolled on the ground, her pride thoroughly bruised. While she suffered no physical injuries, her dignity was certainly in tatters. Liqiao sneered, "Take your soup with you. Our madam won't have any appetite for it." These words only soured their expressions further. The maid representing the magistrate's wife hurriedly interjected, "Well, Miss Liqiao, what do you mean? This is a token of my wife's goodwill. Miss Liqiao, it's not suitable for you to decline on behalf of Madame Xiao, is it?" "Why not? It's none of your business whether it's suitable or not." Xianxia retorted coldly, "We suspect you have ill intentions. Why are you really here? To offer greetings? It's clear you're here to cause trouble. Why don't you leave? Do you need us to escort you out?" Terrified, everyone glanced at Ai. Unwilling to face his forceful removal, they hurriedly made their exit. Upon hearing the report, the deputy prefect's wife's face darkened. She reprimanded her subordinate for mishandling the situation and sent him away in frustration. Such an incident must not be repeated. Now, she needed to devise an alternative plan. With Ms. Qiao missing and not at the relay station, Lord Xiao remained remarkably composed. Little did he expect that the news would be so well concealed. His Highness had mandated the revelation of Ms. Qiao's disappearance, necessitating the formulation of a plan. Yet, what approach should they take? The deputy prefect's wife promptly ordered someone to summon her husband. Despite their discussions, a viable solution eluded them. The previous disruptive method had already been employed, and its effectiveness was unlikely to be repeated. In a moment of desperation, the deputy prefect gritted his teeth and sneered. "We cannot fail in such a trivial matter. How can His Highness entrust me with future tasks if we falter? I propose bribing a few individuals to set fire tonight and infiltrate during the ensuing chaos. His wife's eyes lit up, and she eagerly agreed. Old Master, that's a brilliant idea. The chaos will create a convenient distraction for us. A sinister smile crossed the deputy prefect's face. I'll make the arrangements immediately. Time was of the essence. With His Highness having stationed someone in Yenzhou, they needed to establish contact. Lord Xiao had brought along Imperial Guards proficient in martial arts. Achieving this task solo would be challenging without His Highness' assistance. The deputy prefect's wife couldn't help but suggest, I don't understand His Highness' intentions. So what if Ms. Xiao is missing? Why not use her as leverage against Xiao Yunduan? If he refuses to comply, he'll be a laughingstock, given his grand declarations of loyalty. Once his reputation is tarnished, I doubt he can maintain a foothold in the capital. The deputy prefect cautioned, we can't presume to know His Highness' plans. It's better for you to speak less. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1532. Pushing away, raising his eyebrows, the deputy prefect admonished, You're too impulsive. Why didn't you plan meticulously and send just 2 or 3 maids? Did you think you could triumph easily? If dealing with Xiao Yunduan were so simple, why would His Highness invest so much effort in him? Congratulations, you've squandered a significant opportunity. How foolish. The deputy prefect's wife felt a bit vexed, wondering what mistake she had made. All she wanted was to make a noteworthy contribution. Who could have predicted that these 2 girls would prove so unreasonable? Moreover, she had accompanied the magistrate's wife, thinking that her presence would dispel any suspicion. Since the prefectural magistrate's wife held more sway, her entourage naturally deferred to her authority, right? This should have been a prime chance for her to slip away discreetly. While the couple conversed, someone from the prefect's wife's entourage approached, expressing a desire to discuss matters with the deputy prefect's wife. Despite the deputy prefect's wife's skepticism, she had to oblige, granting her the courtesy. The brief meeting concluded soon after. Upon receiving the report about the soup from the maidservants, the prefectural magistrate's wife couldn't help but frown and reprimand them. Was she out of her mind? Visiting a patient and delivering soup were commendable actions. As long as her intentions were genuine, shouldn't seeing the patient take precedence? Why force an entry into the other party's house? What was her rationale? The maidservants, filled with grievances, could not articulate their defense. They didn't want to engage in such actions, but the deputy prefect's wife insisted that personally kowtowing demonstrated sincerity and care. They couldn't be seen as inferior. However, the unexpected turn of events left the magistrate's wife increasingly agitated. When the deputy prefect's wife arrived, she tactfully mentioned the incident. Offending someone was never a good strategy. In the future, she needed to exercise more caution. Good intentions should not provoke resentment. Instead of fostering goodwill, her actions created a standoff, leaving people angry and resentful. The description of the expression as tactful stemmed from the fact that although the prefectural magistrate held an official position, he was essentially an ordinary landowner who had progressed to his current rank through the advanced scholar examination. On the contrary, the deputy prefect's background differed significantly. As a descendant of a prominent local family, he wielded considerable influence and boasted connections in the capital. Many of the magistrate's decrees often relied on his cooperation for implementation. In essence, refusing to give the magistrate due respect and intentionally causing trouble or opposition could jeopardize the magistrate's tenure in the region. The consequences would be overwhelming, constituting a significant setback. Because of this delicate power dynamic, regardless of the deputy prefect's wife's actions, especially when dispatching servants to visit Xiaoxian, the magistrate's wife closely monitored the situation. Upon hearing the prefectural magistrate's wife's remarks, the deputy prefect's wife responded with disdain and indifference. Her husband held a prestigious position, and she, too, carried a noble status. It seemed inconceivable to take the magistrate's wife seriously. She feigned regret and sighed with apparent concern. Sister, you're absolutely right. The two girls beside Madame Xiao are likely quite upset this time. I wonder what they'll say to Madame Xiao. As she uttered these words, the magistrate's wife's heart skipped a beat, envisioning numerous unfavorable scenarios. She was well aware of the potential impact of slaves' slander, particularly from personal maidservants, long-serving nannies, trusted butlers, and the like. Their words held significant weight in the eyes of their masters. The two resentful girls, if inclined to sow discord in front of Madame Xiao, might prompt Madame Xiao to engage in pillow talk with Lord Xiao, leading to various undesirable outcomes. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1533. Another visit. Lord Xiao was now the favorite of the Crown Prince and Minister Old Yun. The Emperor also held him in high regard. If they offended him, could it potentially impact her husband's future career? The more the magistrate's wife dwelled on this, the more anxious she became. She couldn't help but attribute the trouble to the deputy prefect's wife. To think that she had the audacity to suggest solutions. Wasn't all of this caused by her? Sister, the deputy prefect's wife suggested earnestly, why don't we personally apologize to Madame Xiao and clarify the situation? If we make things clear, those two girls won't be able to stir up trouble. Otherwise, it could really cause unnecessary concerns. I didn't anticipate it would escalate like this. I truly acted with good intentions. The prefectural magistrate's wife hesitated, considering what her servants and maidservants had faced during their visit earlier in the day. Doesn't it seem inappropriate? After all, the servants had been forcibly chased out just hours ago. What's inappropriate about that? The deputy prefect's wife responded casually with a smile. Madame Xiao is just suffering from a cold, not a serious illness. She has seen the doctor, taken medicine, and rested for quite some time. She must have woken up by now, right? We're visiting her with good intentions, just to meet, talk, and convey our concern. It's not like we're doing anything else. If Madame Xiao doesn't appreciate this small gesture, then really, the deputy prefect's wife sighed softly. If we refrain from going, it might be disastrous if Madame Xiao genuinely believes the slander of those two maidservants. The magistrate's wife made a firm decision. Sister, you're right. We should personally attend to Madame Xiao. That's how hosts should behave. Exactly. Why don't we go now? Although still a bit hesitant, the magistrate's wife agreed. This matter should not be delayed. If it is, Madame Xiao might. Without further delay, the magistrate's wife decided, let's go now. Okay. The deputy prefect's wife felt secretly delighted and somewhat smug. Wasn't this another opportunity? This time, she wanted to see if the two maidservants could stop her and the magistrate's wife. Upon arriving at Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan's residence, they asked someone to report their presence. Li Xia and Li Qiu were left with a headache. The prefectural magistrate's wife and the deputy prefect's wife had come personally, and Li Xia and Li Qiu were just servants. How could they stop them? Li Xia hurriedly went to the study to report to Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan sensed that something was amiss, and his eyes sank. Of the prefect and deputy prefect, there must be something wrong with one or both of them. Sending their wives to probe indicated a connection to the kidnapping of his wife. Were these two madams attempting to expose his wife's disappearance? His annoyance was evident, but he subconsciously let out a sigh of relief. This meant that his wife should be safe for the time being. That's good. Recognizing that Li Xia and Li Qiu couldn't stop the wife of the magistrate and the wife of the deputy prefect, Xiao Yunduan decided to meet them personally. The deputy prefect's wife was dumbfounded. She hadn't expected Xiao Yunduan to meet them in person. Wasn't there a distinction between men and women? As an official of the court, did he have to deal with the two of them himself? Didn't he understand the protocols? On the other hand, the prefectural magistrate's wife was also taken aback, but she quickly felt secretly pleased. She had come to the residence to explain the situation under the guise of a hospital visit, ensuring that Xiao Yunduan wouldn't misunderstand her. What better opportunity than to clarify herself directly in front of him? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1534. She didn't care at all. Xiao Yunduan smiled graciously upon hearing the latter's words, understanding the underlying concern for his wife. He chose not to blame the servants for their apparent rudeness, attributing the misunderstanding to the impatience of his two daughters. The prefectural magistrate's wife immediately felt relieved and expressed her apologies, emphasizing that it was a mere misunderstanding. However, the deputy prefect's wife was visibly irate. Though she logically knew it was inappropriate to say more, she dismissed the potential suspicions of Lord Xiao, confident in the lack of evidence. Trusting in the reliability of His Highness, she remained undeterred, focused on revealing the news of Qiao Xian's disappearance to strengthen their alliance with Lord Xiao in the future. Appearing oblivious to the unfolding tension, the deputy prefect's wife persistently urged Qiao Xian to visit her personally under the guise of concern. Lord Xiao, please don't worry. Our intention is not to disturb Madame Xiao. We genuinely care for her well-being and believe a conversation might alleviate her ailment. If we speak to Madame Xiao, she might recover sooner, she asserted. Besides, we are already here. Surely, Lord Xiao, you won't find our concern disrespectful? Despite the discreet signals from the prefectural magistrate's wife, the deputy prefect's wife continued unabated. The former blushed, embarrassed by her companion's persistence, and wondered why she hadn't explained matters directly to Lord Xiao. Moreover, she questioned the necessity of wanting to see Madame Xiao. If she had something to convey, why involve others and create unnecessary complications? The prefectural magistrate's wife found herself flustered, regretting the unfolding situation. Despite her inner turmoil, she refrained from undermining her companion, considering it inappropriate to intervene at that moment. Xiao Yunduan's demeanor shifted to a colder tone as he directed his gaze at the deputy prefect's wife, firm in his conviction that the source of the issue lay with this particular couple. Internally scolding Xiao Yunduan for his perceived lack of gentlemanly conduct, the deputy prefect's wife put on a false smile and questioned, Lord Xiao, surely you won't endorse this, will you? Is Madame Xiao unwell, or is she not even present at the inn? The prefectural magistrate's wife, visibly taken aback, interjected, her face turning even redder. Sister, what on earth are you talking about? Undeterred, the deputy prefect's wife maintained her composure and pressed on aggressively, Lord Xiao, have we hit the mark? Is Madame Xiao truly absent from the courier station? What has transpired? Is she missing? Lord Xiao, don't evade the truth. Will you allow us to enter? Madame Xiao's disappearance is a grave matter. Lord Xiao, concealing it won't serve anyone. If we don't locate Madame Xiao promptly, it could lead to serious consequences. Her mishap occurred in Yenzhou City, and we cannot shirk our responsibilities. Speaking rapidly and with a sense of urgency, the deputy prefect's wife presented her conjecture with confidence that bordered on certainty. The prefectural magistrate's wife and the onlookers were left dumbfounded, their wide-eyed expressions betraying a strange inclination to believe the deputy prefect's wife, despite the lack of evidence. The prefectural magistrate's wife hesitated, her heart racing, yet she refrained from uttering a word. Xiao Yunduan's expression grew colder. Madam Qin, have you concluded? My wife is recuperating in the bedroom. Madam Qin, I must say you're overstepping boundaries here, aren't you? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1535. Fire. The deputy prefect's wife adopted an assertive stance, lifting the corners of her eyes as she remarked, Is that so? But I have my doubts. Since you're so confident, let us see Madame Xiao. A brief glimpse, we promise. Well, be as silent as mice, not a disturbance. Lord Xiao, do you have the courage? Lord Xiao, forgive my bluntness. Honestly, I'm doing this for the sake of my old master. What if something untoward happens to Madame Xiao? If you accuse us of incompetence, who can we turn to? Planning ahead is essential. Lord Xiao, you've gone to great lengths to prevent us from seeing Madame Xiao. It's hard for us to trust your assurances. Xiao Yunduan sneered. My wife is well, I don't need your validation. Kindly depart. Once she's recovered, you may have your meeting with her. The deputy prefect's wife insisted, just a quick glance. Are you unwilling even to respond? Xiao Yunduan chuckled and responded calmly, Madam Qin, perhaps you're unaware, but I detest threats and moral coercion. Kindly take your leave. Internally cursing his stubbornness, the deputy prefect's wife found him shameless. Despite his statements, he remained resolute. In that case, I genuinely suspect something is amiss here. Feel free to harbor your suspicions, Xiao Yunduan retorted coldly, casting a stern glance. But let me remind you, Madam Qin, without evidence, refrain from baseless accusations, or you may find me less accommodating. The deputy prefect's wife sneered. Lord Xiao, are you afraid? Xiao Yunduan replied, escort her out. The prefectural magistrate's wife, feeling weak in the legs and with a pounding heart, eagerly desired to leave. She forced a smile, bid her farewell, and, grasping a servant's hand, worked to regain composure before exiting. With her departure, the deputy prefect's wife had no reason to linger. She stood up, offered a parting smile, and left as well. The prefectural magistrate's wife wasted no time waiting for the deputy prefect's wife. Upon departure, she hastened her pace, leaving the latter trailing behind. Smirking with cold resolve, the deputy prefect's wife suppressed her anger. A mere fifth-grade official, she recognized her limited standing. Her husband, a fourth-grade magistrate and a trusted aide to the fourth prince, possessed boundless prospects. Lord Xiao's disregard for her authority irked her deeply. Did he believe he could impede the fourth prince's will? Tonight, she vowed to teach him a lesson, planning to embarrass him before everyone. Xiao Yunduan hadn't anticipated such arrogance from the deputy prefect's wife. The Yanzhou mansion, he realized, was more complex than he had assumed. Their relationship was on the brink of deterioration, if not already there. He doubted they would hesitate to act against him now. The looming question was, what would be their course of action? Frowning, Xiao Yunduan pondered the situation. That night, despite intensified patrols ordered by Xiao Yunduan, someone exploited a vulnerability. The relay station, sprawling with servants and government workers, proved chaotic. Seizing the moment, an infiltrator set fire to the compound. The flames erupted simultaneously in the west wing of Xiao Yunduan's and Xiao Xian's yard, and the backyard. The scale of the fire suggested liberal use of oil, engulfing half the sky in an instant. In the ensuing turmoil, Li Xia, Li Qiu, and other guards under Ai's command, namely Sun Bai and Sun Qian, promptly mobilized toward the 500 meters of the courtyard where Qiao Wei once resided. Both the prefectural magistrate's wife and the deputy prefect's wife arrived on the scene. The latter promptly expressed a desire to visit and console Madame Xiao amidst the chaos. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1536. Forcing, however, Li Xia firmly informed her, my wife is in shock. Lord Xiao is currently with Madame and cannot entertain visitors. The deputy prefect's wife sneered in disdain. Once again, faced with rejection. How much longer could he persist in this refusal? Just then, a maid positioned behind the deputy prefect's wife spoke in a hushed tone. I just witnessed someone taking Madame Xiao away. Is Madame Xiao truly still in the bedroom? Another maidservant quickly chimed in. I think I saw it too. Promptly seizing the opportunity, the deputy prefect's wife asserted, is it true? Is Lord Xiao concealing this out of embarrassment? This is a serious matter. To dispel any rumors, sister, let's enter and confirm. If Madame Xiao is present, we can put an end to speculations. If she's indeed abducted, we must devise a plan to rescue her. Lord Xiao is bewildered. His wife's safety takes precedence over his reputation. This transpired in Yanzhou City, and we share a responsibility. If we don't inspect the situation and express our concern, we won't be able to justify ourselves in the future. Fuming with anger, the prefectural magistrate's wife felt the urge to vent her frustration. She had merely stood there without uttering a word. Why did he involve her in everything? What did it have to do with her? Not oblivious to the strained relations between the deputy prefect's wife and her husband with Lord Xiao, she couldn't fathom why they pulled her into their conflicts. Suddenly, he burst out and forcefully kicked the two maidservants who had spoken. Even amid the clamor of the night, the piercing screams resonated with terror. Ai's actions were swift, catching everyone off guard. The deputy prefect's wife, once she regained composure, was both shocked and incensed. She retorted, "How dare you assault my people? I'll seek an explanation from Lord Xiao and Madame Xiao regarding their servant management." Although Ai's kick didn't physically strike her, it felt like a direct blow to her dignity. She had uttered more than the two maidservants. Ai refrained from kicking her due to her status, but she had undeniably suffered a loss of face. Ai's demeanor remained unchanged. He met her gaze and stated, "They spoke ill of our wife with filthy mouths, spreading false accusations." As the commotion unfolded, both the prefect and deputy prefect approached. The courtyard fire had been extinguished, and order had been restored, prompting their hurried arrival. The deputy prefect's wife, now even more flustered and enraged, sought solace from her husband. The deputy prefect, seething with anger, demanded, "I demand to see Lord Xiao. He owes me an explanation." Xiao Yunduan emerged from the room at a measured pace, addressing the deputy prefect calmly, "What explanation do you seek, Lord Qin? These two servants were maligning my wife, and I find that unacceptable." The deputy prefect's wife gritted her teeth, asserting, "Chunlan and Dongmei never lie. If they've spoken, it must be true. Lord Xiao, if you have nothing to hide, let us enter and verify. Do you have the courage?" "Lord Xiao, are you afraid this scandal will tarnish your reputation? Yet this incident occurred in Yenzhou. Both my old master and the magistrate share responsibility. It's only right to swiftly address the issue. Lord Xiao, by concealing it, aren't you jeopardizing us? I'm genuinely concerned. Lord Xiao, do you dare to let us in for a closer look?" A cloud of suspicion settled over the onlookers as they exchanged glances. "If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1537. Suspicion. A subtle shift in everyone's gaze hinted at their growing uncertainty. Was it possible that Madame Xiao had indeed disappeared? Otherwise, why would the deputy prefect's wife boldly assert such a claim? After all, if it were merely a rumor, it could easily be disproven by having Madame Xiao make an appearance. The notion that Madame Xiao was missing, coupled with Lord Xiao's persistent attempts to conceal the truth, fueled speculation. The deputy prefect's wife's forceful demand for an explanation only added to the perplexity. Imaginations ran rampant. Lord Xiao had reasons to keep it under wraps. If Madame Xiao were truly taken away, the impact on his reputation would be disastrous. It wasn't just about public image, it touched on the core of his identity as a husband. The potential ridicule and betrayal he might face could strip away his dignity, leaving him with no face to show. For him, the damage to his reputation could jeopardize his future prospects. It made sense for him to do everything in his power to keep the situation hidden. Some speculated that, in a few days, news of Madame Xiao's recovery might be released, and later, perhaps, a grim prognosis of her impending demise. In the midst of these speculations, the deputy prefect's wife, seemingly acting out of kindness, positioned herself as a champion of justice for her newfound sister, Madame Xiao. Most people bought into this narrative, while a few remained puzzled and unsure. Whispers and suspicions surged like a tidal wave, casting a variety of scrutinizing glances, both open and covert, upon Xiao Yunduan. The deputy prefect's wife, casting a glance at Xiao Yunduan's impassive expression, reveled in her inner satisfaction. She doubted that, at this juncture, Lord Xiao could maintain the secrecy. If he continued to deny access to Madame Xiao, he would appear guilty, and her insistence would make his denial less believable. "Lord Xiao, do you dare?" The deputy prefect's wife sneered. Do you have the courage to allow us to check if Madame Xiao is in her room right now? I confidently assert that she isn't. If I'm wrong, I'll kowtow and apologize to you. Will you answer me, Lord Xiao? Gasps echoed around them, leaving everyone bewildered. The deputy prefect's wife's apparent concern for Madame Xiao struck the onlookers. Her unwavering certainty suggested a genuine belief that Madame Xiao might truly be missing. Surprisingly, Lord Xiao seemed callous, prioritizing his personal desires, reputation, and dignity over his wife's well-being. His lack of urgency portrayed a cold and selfish nature, shattering the illusion of his deep love. Perhaps, the earlier displays of affection were nothing more than an act, a well-crafted facade to garner attention and build a reputation. The deputy prefect, unable to remain silent any longer, spoke with hesitation. Lord Xiao, if Madame Xiao is indeed missing, please inform us so we can assist. Otherwise, if any harm befalls Madame Xiao, the responsibility will be unbearable. Xiao Yunduan retorted coldly, you need not concern yourself with responsibility. Moreover, I detest coercion, and I won't permit anyone to disturb my wife. After tonight's fright, she has finally fallen asleep. Madame Qin, what is your true intention? The deputy prefect's wife sneered, I doubt you would dare to take any action. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1538, Hoaxed Xiao Yunduan asserted, I have no intention of arguing with you. The deputy prefect's wife, seething with anger, retorted, Madame Xiao must have disappeared. Lord Xiao, you are heartless. Xiao Yunduan sneered and wore a disdainful expression, choosing not to engage further with her. Bafflement spread among the onlookers. Well, if the deputy prefect's wife is so convinced, maybe there's some truth to it. Indeed. Why resist letting people in? Opening the door would settle everything. Unexpected turn of events. Sigh. Human emotions are fickle. Now that Lord Xiao is on the rise, he's naturally different. He truly has the audacity to. The deputy prefect's wife must share a close bond with Madame Xiao. It's fortunate she exposed the truth. Why would Madame Xiao be abducted? Yes. Could it be? The deputy prefect's wife grew even more self-assured. Lord Xiao, the truth always prevails. There's no hiding it. What good does it do to deceive yourself? Nobody here is a fool. Xiao Yunduan responded icily, I'll reiterate, my wife has been perfectly well. If anyone dares to spread baseless rumors, I won't hesitate to respond firmly. Numerous witnesses have seen nothing amiss, yet the two maids by your side claim otherwise. It's intriguing. I'm curious to know what my wife has done to incur your wrath, leading to this attempt to slander her and tarnish her reputation. It's absurd that I should have to prove my innocence regarding the word of two maids in your company, Madame Qin. If I were to comply with such a ludicrous charade, what would become of my wife and me? Madame Qin, are you attempting to coerce an official of the imperial court based on the testimony of two lowly maidservants? Do you consider yourself worthy? Who do you think you are? You. If someone casually uttered a few words and claimed to have seen someone enter your courtyard in the middle of the night, would you readily allow a search? Nonsense. The deputy prefect's wife seethed. Lord Xiao, as an official of the imperial court, kindly choose your words wisely. Do you know how to be cautious with your words? Xiao Yunduan sneered. I thought you were incapable of such discretion. Whispers resumed among the onlookers, this time casting suspicion on the deputy prefect's wife. Indeed, it was merely the testimony of two maids, and yet the deputy prefect's wife displayed unwavering certainty and uttered aggressive remarks. How could Lord Xiao not be provoked? As he had pointed out, how could he and his wife establish their innocence solely on the words of two maidservants? Even an ordinary person would feel deeply humiliated by such an accusation, let alone an official of the imperial court like Lord Xiao. If Lord Xiao acquiesced to the deputy prefect's wife, he would forfeit all his dignity. Being caught in the narrative woven by the two maidservants would become a blemish on his reputation. The deputy prefect's wife, enraged, felt a surge of frustration. She had seemingly gained the upper hand and pushed Xiao Yunduan into a corner, only to find him shamelessly shifting the blame. Despite the deputy prefect's wife's furious and indignant protests, insisting, "Do you dare? Do you dare let me in to see?" and accusing, "You don't dare, so you must be guilty," Xiao Yunduan remained indifferent. He turned his gaze to the deputy prefect and remarked, "Lord Qin, has your wife fallen prey to some malicious deceit? What is the meaning of this?" Awkwardly rubbing his nose, the deputy prefect hastened forward to restrain his wife, whispering something to her. Though reluctant, she gritted her teeth and endured it. "If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1539. Mockery. The deputy prefect's wife sneered once more. "Lord Xiao, your silver tongue leaves me speechless. I can only feel sorry for Madame Xiao. Missing and forgotten, it wouldn't be surprising if she passed away one day." Pet. "Shut up." Xiao Yunduan's anger flared, glaring at her. "Rest assured, my wife will live a long life." Frustrated by Madame Qin's remarks, Xiao Yunduan resisted the urge to retaliate physically against her rudeness. "Lord Qin," he continued, addressing the deputy prefect with disdain, "you're truly fortunate to have wed such a well-mannered, eloquent lady. With such a remarkable wife, Lord Qin, your future must be promising." The deputy prefect's face reddened instantly, overcome with embarrassment. It felt as if he had been slapped, mocked for choosing a spouse lacking in manners, and cursed for his future. However, his wife had provoked the scolding, leaving him little choice. He gripped her arm to prevent further outbursts and shot her a warning glare. Maintaining a forced smile, he pretended to be oblivious to Xiao Yunduan's sarcasm. As long as he feigned ignorance, the embarrassment wasn't truly his. Nevertheless, he couldn't linger any longer, even though indignation bubbled within him as much as his wife. Xiao Yunduan, with his thick skin, had pushed them to this point, yet he persistently attempted to mask the situation with sophistry. "Lord Xiao, my wife must have been frightened by tonight's fire and chaos. She didn't mean anything else. Please, don't argue with a woman. It's late, we should take our leave. We won't disturb your rest. Lord Xiao, focus on taking care of Madame Xiao for a swift recovery." My wife and Madame Xiao instantly hit it off. "She genuinely cares for Madame Xiao." Xiao Yunduan sneered, retorting, "Your wife's concern is not something anyone can appreciate. You may leave." Xiao Yunduan gestured towards the two maids who had been vocal about witnessing Qiao Xian being taken away. "However, they must stay. Lord Qin, do you find fault with my decision to pursue this matter?" The hearts of the deputy prefect and his wife skipped a beat. Xiao Yunduan's assertiveness left little room for refusal, even if his request seemed reasonable. Yet, surrendering these individuals to him was out of the question. Once they were handed over, who knew what kind of punishment Xiao Yunduan might mete out? What if the interrogation unearthed some compromising information? While they could feign ignorance, it remained an inappropriate risk. These two have overstepped their bounds. It's understandable that Lord Xiao is angered. "Men, take them away and administer 30 strokes each." "Lord Xiao, how does that sound?" Xiao Yunduan sneered, opting to remain silent. His silence, however, carried implicit agreement. At the deputy prefect's command, bailiffs swiftly descended upon the two maidservants, dragging them down as they cried and pleaded for mercy. Unexpectedly, Xiao Yunduan interjected, "Do it here." His subordinates complied, subjecting the two maids to a merciless beating. Their screams echoed, initially accompanied by pleas for mercy, but eventually tapering off as their heads drooped, succumbing to unconsciousness. The onlookers shuddered, their hearts pounding. Xiao Yunduan cast a cold gaze across the crowd and declared, "Continue spreading baseless rumors, and next time, the tally will be 60 or 90. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1540. He wants to alert them. The deputy prefect couple's faces burned with humiliation. Despite their anger, They dared not voice their objections. They hastily departed, leaving in a sorry state. The magistrate sighed inwardly and bid farewell to his wife. Xiao Yunduan issued some instructions to Sun Bai and Sun Qian, then turned on his heel and returned to the room. Since he had commandeered this residence, Qiao Wei could no longer remain there and had to vacate at the last minute. As the deputy prefect's wife approached Xiao Yunduan, Qiao Wei, overhearing their conversation from inside the room, felt a profound unease. The temptation to rush out and disclose the truth, potentially tarnishing Qiao Xian's reputation, was strong. However, fear held her back. Xiao Yunduan would never entertain her explanations, even if she feigned an accidental disclosure. His retaliation would be merciless, and she knew she could never endure such consequences. While it seemed gratifying to exact revenge on Qiao Xian and sully his reputation, Qiao Wei had to prioritize self-preservation. She couldn't risk her life and future to go down with Qiao Xian. Thus, she reluctantly endured the frustration, feigning ignorance. In her heart, she silently cursed that Qiao Xian would never return. That night, Xiao Yunduan found no sleep. There was no news of Qiao Xian, no contacts, and no clues. The uncertainty of when any information might surface weighed heavily on him. Yenzhou City, coupled with the element of surprise working against him, posed a daunting challenge in finding someone amid the sea of faces. Furthermore, conducting an open search was out of the question. One certainty provided some solace: his wife was currently safe. The very fact that they had orchestrated the leak about her disappearance hinted at her security. Yet, she couldn't remain concealed indefinitely. This wouldn't be the last time the deputy prefect's wife would act so unreasonably. Xiao Yunduan couldn't afford to counter her vehemently every time. Ultimately, there was no need for him to engage in verbal sparring. His wife only needed to reveal herself inadvertently, causing the deputy prefect's wife to lose face. Throughout the night, Xiao Yunduan mulled over his decision. He resolved to alert the enemy. Certain that his wife's disappearance was linked to the deputy prefect couple, he planned to confront the deputy prefect that day and inquire directly. He intended to ascertain if his master had set any conditions. Convinced that the deputy prefect would inevitably contact someone, Xiao Yunduan instructed Sun Bai and Sun Qian to discreetly monitor him and shadow his movements. In a village over 30 miles from Yenzhou City, Xie Miao was dispatched into the city by his master before dawn. Upon arrival, he inquired at the government office but gleaned no information regarding Madame Xiao's disappearance. Inwardly relieved, Xie Miao marveled at how adeptly Lord Xiao had managed to conceal the news. While he expected secrecy within the Xiao family, he hadn't anticipated such effective concealment in Yenzhou. Impressed, he wasted no time and immediately hired a carriage to hasten back to the village, sharing the information he had gathered. Upon hearing the news, Qiao Xian sighed in relief and remarked, "I knew you'd be able to keep the news under wraps. I must return now, or he might not handle the situation well." While Qiao Xian didn't fully trust the information, it at least confirmed the existence of a mole. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1541. Return. The traitor had conspired with others to kidnap her, and Lord Xiao couldn't conceal the news indefinitely. He was certain to find a way to disseminate it. Her husband must be going through a tough time these past 2 days. Xie Jingrong couldn't help but feel a twinge of disappointment as he observed the joy on her face. He concealed it skillfully, maintaining a gentle smile as he nodded and said, "Then, let's go." Afterwards, the group immediately took the carriage into the city. Although Xie Jingrong didn't make an appearance, he checked into an inn upon entering the city. He tasked Xie Miao with delivering a letter to Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan was elated upon reading the letter. The collaboration unfolded seamlessly, and Xiao Xian returned to the station unnoticed. This time, she truly needed rest in bed. Tearfully, Li Xia and the others left, leaving Xiao Yunduan by her side. Unable to contain his joy, Xiao Xian hugged Xiao Yunduan, laughing with delight. Xiao Yunduan gazed down at the woman in his arms, smiling as he tightened his embrace. Xiao Xian, looking up from his arms, locked eyes with him, and they shared a kiss. Suppressed emotions, restrained composure, nights filled with restlessness and fear, intense longing, every emotion blended and erupted simultaneously. It was a tsunami, a volcanic eruption, and a fierce wind. They kissed until parting seemed impossible. Xianxia whimpered, feeling almost suffocated by the man's passion, yet she found solace and security in the suffocation. "I'm sorry." After the kiss, Xianxia held her soft waist tightly with one hand, the other on her shoulder. He lowered his head and said hoarsely, "I'm sorry." Warmth filled Xiaoxian's heart, a sense of being cherished. She pursed her lips. "It's not your fault. We didn't anticipate those people being so cunning." Xiaoxian didn't hold Xiaoyunduan responsible for the incident. If blame were to be assigned, it should fall on the East Palace, the source of the trouble. She and Xiaoyunduan were mere pawns in the East Palace's power play against her brothers. Despite this, Xiaoxian only pondered on it briefly and chose not to dwell on the matter. Having committed to this path, they naturally had to continue down it. A steely glint appeared in Xiaoyunduan's eyes. Gritting his teeth, he declared, "I won't let this go when we return to the capital. Just wait and see." Taking a couple of steps back, he assessed her. "Wife, are you frightened? You must have endured a lot. I'll ask Lixia and the others to bring some food over. Have a meal, take a bath, and get some rest. They'll be by your side. We can discuss other matters later." Having returned to the city early in the morning, Xiaoxian's stomach growled, and fatigue set in. A good meal, a hot bath, and some sleep sounded like a perfect plan. She didn't refuse and nodded with a smile. "I'll let you know when I wake up." Xiaoyunduan smiled, squeezed her hand, and guided her to sit down. "Wait here, I'll go fetch them." When Xiaoxian awoke, it was already past noon, and Xiaoyunduan had stayed with her. Opening her eyes slowly, she seemed languid. Spotting her beloved by her side, a sweetness filled Xiaoxian's heart, and she nuzzled against Xiaoyunduan. Xiaoyunduan lowered his head, planting kisses on her forehead, nose, and cheeks. He gently stroked her hair and smiled. "You're awake. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1542. What a lively show, ugh. The two of them embraced for a while before settling against the headboard, holding each other close. Xiaoyunduan, cautious and hesitant, was careful not to frighten his wife. He tactfully asked about her well-being, expressing concern repeatedly. The mere thought of Xiaoxian enduring the past 2 days and nights made him want to eliminate the fourth prince. Xiaoxian, sensing his worry, reassured him. She mentioned that she had figured out they took her as a bargaining chip to pressure him. Though initially scared and unsure of the situation, she became fine afterward. She even attempted an escape but was rescued by Xie Jingrong and his servant. They exchanged stories and comforted each other for a considerable time. Relieved to see her in good spirits, Xiaoyunduan noticed the brightness in her eyes and her radiant smile. She wasn't hiding or frightened in his embrace. As they discussed the events at the inn, Xiaoyunduan sneered, revealing all the details to Xiaoxian. Hearing this, Xiaoxian became furious. "It seems the mole is indeed the deputy prefect and his wife. I had my suspicions about Madame Qin, and they must have leaked the news to humiliate you and tarnish my reputation. They are utterly malicious." The kidnapping of a young family member of an official for a night was a stain that couldn't be easily erased. She suddenly smiled, looking up at Xiaoyunduan. "If I didn't return, what would you do if the deputy prefect's wife kept pestering you?" Xiaoyunduan replied, "It doesn't matter who comes. But it will make you look guilty." "So what?" Xiaoyunduan snorted. "As long as I don't admit it and don't allow it, no one will dare to intrude. If anyone dares to spread rumors, I'll set an example. If you're not afraid, let them spread it." Xiaoxian couldn't contain her laughter and sighed, "Thank goodness I'm back." Xiaoyunduan smiled gently. "Indeed you're back. You're irreplaceable truly." The couple exchanged grins. Had Xiaoxian not returned, Xiao Yunduan would have had no choice but to employ secretive means to locate her and vehemently deny any allegations, regardless of what others might say. Refusing to admit to anything, even in the face of skepticism and the deputy prefect's wife's aggression, became his strategy. If rumors spread, and they couldn't touch her, they wouldn't dare to touch others either. Furthermore, they could compel the magistrate and deputy prefect to punish severely whoever propagated the rumors. It wasn't the ideal plan, just a desperate measure, and who knew how long it would take. But now she was back. Madame Qin seems so certain I'm not here, Xiao Xian sneered. I think I'll invite her to come and see for herself. Since she was so friendly, so concerned, and claimed to be familiar at first sight, she should express her gratitude, right? Xiao Yunduan's eyes gleamed, understanding that his wife's invitation to Madame Qin wasn't merely for herself. He smiled with interest. Wife, what's your plan? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1543. Do you have a choice? Xiao Xian blinked, smiled at him, and chuckled. Let Xiao Wei handle it, of course. Xiao Xian felt no guilt whatsoever about involving Xiao Wei. Xiao Yunduan agreed with a smile, showing no concern for Xiao Wei. When Xiao Wei was summoned, she still felt uneasy, fearing another interrogation from Xiao Yunduan. She genuinely knew nothing about the situation. However, to her surprise, it wasn't Xiao Yunduan who entered but Xiao Xian. Xiao Wei was dumbfounded. She exclaimed, "It's you!" Xiao Xian burst into laughter and blinked. Certainly it's me. I've been recovering and am well now. Xiao Wei, how shameless. Aren't you aware if you were kidnapped in the past 2 days? But she didn't dare voice her thoughts. She knew it would be futile and might even lead to scolding. Why did you call me here? Observing that Xiao Xian appeared fine, full of energy and well-dressed, it was evident that Xiao Yunduan hadn't criticized her upon her return. Otherwise, she wouldn't look so lively. This left Xiao Wei deeply disappointed and unhappy. Unable to change the situation, she consoled herself with the idea that what someone doesn't know or see can't hurt them, right? Xiao Xian smiled. I have a small favor to ask. Hearing Xiao Xian's request, Xiao Wei was so angered that she laughed. You want me to do such a thing? You're using me. Xiao Xian gave her a measured look and spoke deliberately. Consider yourself fortunate that you're still of use to me. Without my protection, you'd be dead by now. I won't do it. Do you have a choice? Xiao Wei, do you believe you have the privilege to refuse me? Let me pose a hypothetical scenario. If you were so ill that you couldn't leave your bed and needed time to recuperate here, what do you think would happen if news of our return reached the capital first? Xiao Wei's face paled, and fear flickered in her eyes. I can make it happen. Leaning forward, Xiao Xian fixed her with a piercing gaze. She sneered, I won't feel a shred of guilt, regardless of how you torment me. Even divine judgment wouldn't hold me accountable. Don't you agree? Xiao Wei breathed heavily, trembling slightly. Yet she averted her gaze in panic and guilt. Though full of anger, she didn't dare challenge Xiao Xian. She lacked both the capability and the confidence. Her heart harbored only sorrow. Fine, I'll do it. The deputy prefect's wife spent a restless night, her discontent evident the next day. Unexpectedly, Xiao Wei sent word to her, confirming that Xiao Xian was truly absent. Xiao Wei even suggested she visit at 3 p.m., assuring her that Xiao Yunduan wouldn't be present. Xiao Wei aimed to deal with Li Xia, Li Qiu, and Yi so the deputy prefect's wife could intrude without hindrance. Ecstatic, the deputy prefect's wife harbored no doubts about Xiao Wei's message. Aware of the long-standing animosity between Xiao Wei and Xiao Xian, and considering Xiao Wei's residency in the intermediate station, the deputy prefect's wife seized what seemed like a golden opportunity. If initially her goal was to complete the fourth prince's task and gain his approval for her husband, now she also relished the prospect of humiliating Xiao Yunduan. This time, with Xiao Wei as an insider, the deputy prefect's wife brazenly entered Xiao Xian's room. Li Xia and Li Qiu, spotting her from a distance, screamed in panic, realizing it wasn't too late to intervene. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1544. Smug indeed, the bedroom was empty. The deputy prefect's wife erupted with joy. She couldn't suppress her triumphant smile. Madame Qin, how can you barge into our madam's room so brazenly, casually, and indifferently? Madame Qin, your behavior is exceedingly impolite. Xianxia seethed with anger. The deputy prefect's wife snorted, dismissing Xianxia and Likia's indignation. She sneered, "Where's your madam? You claimed she's recuperating, didn't you? Ha, why isn't she present?" Xianxia also sneered. "Do we need your permission to update you on our madam's activities?" The deputy prefect's wife couldn't contain herself any longer. "I suspect your madam was kidnapped. You've been guarding an empty house for the past 2 days, haven't you? Lord Xiao is quite heartless. Don't spout nonsense." Xianxia and Likia's expressions shifted simultaneously. They were enraged, panicked, and feeling helpless. Isn't it clear whether I'm spouting nonsense or your masters and servants are lying and covering it up? The deputy prefect's wife sneered. This incident occurred in Yan Prefecture City. Even if Lord Xiao is indifferent, we can't turn a blind eye. Otherwise, rumors will spread. The deputy prefect's wife instructed her servants to promptly summon the prefectural magistrate's wife. The maidservant, loyal to her mistress, agreed and hastened away. Xianxia and Liqiu were unable to stop her. Although anxious to leave, Xianxia and Liqiu faced an unyielding deputy prefect's wife. They intended to inform Xiao Yunduan? No chance. She would obstruct these two, even if it meant going all out and having a confrontation. Moreover, seeing Xianxia and Liqia's urgency to find Xiao Xian, the deputy prefect's wife's initial skepticism subsided completely. It was evident that the information provided by Qiao Wei was entirely accurate. Why else would Xianxia and Liqiu be so urgently seeking assistance? Too late. With her presence, their efforts were futile. The standoff continued until the prefectural magistrate's wife finally arrived. Observing the tense situation, the prefectural magistrate's wife inwardly sighed and frowned. She had no desire to get involved in such matters. Her husband remained impartial, and she naturally followed suit. The deputy prefect's family had gone too far. It was one thing for her to stir up trouble, but involving her was a step too much. Hurrying over, she asserted that Madame Xiao was in her room and might have been kidnapped. Now, she couldn't even find an excuse to decline the deputy prefect's wife's request to check on her. "Sister, you've come at last. This situation frightened me so much, I couldn't handle it on my own." Upon spotting the prefectural magistrate's wife, the deputy prefect's wife quickly patted her chest, dramatizing the situation. She eagerly recounted the events, her smug demeanor irking the prefectural magistrate's wife. Why hadn't she realized the extent of her pretentiousness before? Liqiu about Madame Xiao, of course, it's true. Isn't it evident? The deputy prefect's wife sneered, directing her gaze at Xianxia and Liqiu. "Otherwise, bring Madame Xiao out for us to meet. Can you make her come out?" Xianxia sneered. "Madame Qin doesn't seem to have the authority to decide whether Madame Xiao wants to meet her or not. Shouldn't Madame Xiao have the choice to decide?" Liqiu added, "Madame Qin, your approach is unreasonable. The moment you entered, you stole the spotlight and started spouting baseless claims. Our madam is perfectly fine at the intermediate station, but you refuse to believe us. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1545. Forcing the deputy prefect's wife sneered, "Who can't talk big? Where's the evidence? It's our family's affair where our madam is. Since when do we need to prove it to the deputy prefect's wife? What the deputy prefect's wife is saying is truly amusing." "That's correct. Just last night, our lord severely reprimanded the 2 maidservants beside Madame Qin for spreading baseless rumors. Madame Qin, you witnessed it yourself. But it's only been a night, and you've already forgotten. You're the ones spouting baseless claims. The deputy prefect's wife, humiliated, erupted in anger. Madame Xiao's disappearance is a serious matter. If you conceal it like this and someone ends up harmed, don't blame us and our old master. We won't be able to justify ourselves then. At a time like this, when it's a matter of life and death, you're still in denial. He, did Lord Xiao instruct you to act this way? Lord Xiao is truly heartless. Our lord and madam share a deep bond. What could you possibly understand? It's absurd and comical for such words to reach our lord. That's right. Our lord doesn't even have a concubine. Not many men in the world can claim that. Madame Qin, uttering such remarks is truly ludicrous. Enraged, the deputy prefect's wife turned to the prefectural magistrate's wife. Sister, say something. It's too degrading not to argue with these two maidservants. The prefectural magistrate's wife felt a headache coming on. She had no desire to intervene. Ladies, is Madame Xiao at the inn? Indeed. Then bring her out. Our madam can decide for herself. She hasn't fully recovered and is taking a stroll in the backyard. We don't dare to disturb her. Lord has instructed us not to disrupt her peace. Excuses, all excuses. We speak the truth as sisters. The deputy prefect's wife was on the brink of exploding with anger. She sneered, saying, "Who would believe your version of the truth?" Xianxia retorted, "Why won't you believe us?" The prefectural magistrate's wife had no desire to get involved and wished to feign ignorance. She didn't want to be present at all. As long as she wasn't around, it didn't matter if they caused a commotion. Smiling, she tried to persuade the deputy prefect's wife. Perhaps Madame Xiao is genuinely taking a walk in the backyard? If there's nothing else, let's leave first. This is undoubtedly a lie. The deputy prefect's wife, about to explode with anger, declared, "Didn't I instruct her to stay in bed and recuperate? She's not here at all. We've come this far, yet you persist in lying through your teeth." Xianxia argued, "It's evident that you're the one causing a scene. What if you're wrong? What will you do then?" Madame Qin sneered. "If I'm wrong, I'll kneel down and kowtow 3 times to your madam to apologize. Then, I'll kowtow to you and your sister to apologize. Now, can you invite her out? If she's genuinely here, why hide behind the curtain?" Xiao Xian entered slowly, holding Miamian's hand, and said calmly, "Madame Qin, your statements are quite intriguing." A sudden hush fell over the room. All eyes turned to Xiao Xian, and gasps filled the air. The prefectural magistrate's wife was overjoyed and finally felt a sense of relief. "Madame Xiao, have you recovered? Congratulations." Truth be told, she didn't want any trouble in Yenzhou City. Smoothly sending her away would be ideal. This was excellent. However, the deputy prefect's wife widened her eyes as if she had seen a ghost. You, if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1546, She's really here, what about me? Xiao Xian showed no intention of mercy. She spoke with a half-smile, "Do you not recognize me, Madame Qin? Why don't you take a closer look at me?" The deputy prefect's wife swayed and moved her lips, but no words came out. Xiao Xian advanced, saying, "Madame Qin has been causing a commotion, insisting that I was missing. At that time, I wasn't feeling well, so I dismissed it with a laugh. But Madame Qin, your actions are becoming increasingly absurd. Do I have a grudge against you? Have we ever offended you, prompting you to spread rumors and slander me?" The deputy prefect's wife was flustered. It's Miss Qiao. She was the one who told me that you were missing." "Yes, it's her." Xiao Xian smiled. "What a joke. Let's not even discuss the truth of that claim. Are you devoid of reason? Can you not think for yourself? You believe whatever others say? Then why not heed what my husband has said? Do you trust words that paint us in a negative light and wish to cause a stir without cause? Madame Qin, when have we wronged you or Lord Qin? Madame Qin, why not speak plainly? Madame Qin, repeatedly involving yourself in such trivial matters should not leave you embarrassed to make things clear, right? Since you're unwilling to clarify, Let my husband discuss this matter with Lord Qin. I. The deputy prefect's wife's eyes widened, and her body trembled. She gritted her teeth but couldn't utter a word. What could she say? Xiao Xian's words left her speechless. Ignoring her, Xiao Xian instructed Mian, "Tell him to summon our old master, Mr. Qin, and the magistrate here." The deputy prefect's wife's vision darkened, and she glanced at the prefectural magistrate's wife in panic. The prefectural magistrate's wife had already lowered her eyes, appearing lost in thought. She would not intervene, absolutely not. She saw and heard nothing. And Miss Qiao? The deputy prefect's wife gritted her teeth. Summon Miss Qiao as well. Xiao Xian sneered. Go ahead, Madame Qin won't relent until she provides us with an explanation. Shortly after, Xiao Yunduan, the deputy prefect, and the magistrate arrived. With everyone present, Qiao Wei, who arrived late, heard the news of Xiao Xian's improving condition. Sun Bai and the others breathed a collective sigh of relief. Upon realizing that Qiao Wei intended to confront her, the deputy prefect's wife initially felt a twinge of guilt. However, when she noticed Qiao Wei's defiant stance, her guilt transformed into anger. Qiao Wei defiantly stuck out her chest, unafraid. She shot a provocative glance at the deputy prefect's wife. What did she have to fear? The deputy prefect's wife lacked any evidence. As long as she maintained her denial, what could the deputy prefect's wife do? After all, one couldn't blame others for being gullible and naive, right? Miss Qiao, why did you lie to me? What is your motive? So, you're manipulating me like a pawn and deceiving me. The deputy prefect's wife erupted in fury, shouting immediately. Qiao Wei's complexion paled slightly. She bit her lip and denied, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no connection with you. What lies have I told you, Madame Qin? Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan hadn't allowed Qiao Wei unrestricted movement. It was as if she was under house arrest. She hadn't had any private encounters with the deputy prefect's wife. These statements made it nearly impossible for anyone to doubt her. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1547. Who are you humiliating? The deputy prefect's wife was furious. You're shamelessly telling lies, bald-faced lies, lying through your teeth. Well, Miss Qiao. Xiao Wei retorted, don't you, the deputy prefect's wife, excel at distorting the truth, telling shameless lies, lying through your teeth? I wouldn't dare to compare myself with you. You. Miss Qiao is absolutely correct. Xiao Xian added sarcastically. In the art of bald-faced lies and lying through one's teeth, no one surpasses the deputy prefect's wife. The deputy prefect's wife was seething with anger, her vision darkening, but she couldn't come up with a retort. Persistently claiming that Xiao Xian had been abducted was a prime example of distorting the truth, telling bald-faced lies, and lying through one's teeth. Apart from swallowing her anger and accepting the situation, what else could she do? The deputy prefect cleared his throat awkwardly, covering his mouth with his fist. The deputy prefect's wife glared at the deputy prefect and the prefect, complaining, Old master, Lord, you must believe me. How could I lie? Xiao Xian chimed in, mocking her further. Indeed, Madame Qin never lies. She merely excels in concocting falsehoods and slandering others. Madame Qin, everyone. Now it was Xiao Yunduan's turn to cough. He exchanged a smile with Xiao Xian, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. It wasn't appropriate for him to personally address Madame Qin, as it would be too degrading. However, having his wife handle the situation was entirely fitting. Madame Qin was frustrated. If Madame Xiao had come out earlier, why should I come out? What if I choose not to? Hasn't my husband made it abundantly clear? Your two subordinate maids, born in an intermediate relationship, demand that I stand up and prove my innocence? Madame Qin, whom do you think you're looking down upon? More precisely, whom are you humiliating? I, Lord Qin, Xiao Yunduan turned to the deputy prefect, tell me what needs to be done. The deputy prefect forced a smile. Well, it's a misunderstanding, of course. It's entirely my wife's fault. I must apologize. He shot a stern look at Madame Qin and murmured, "What are you waiting for? Apologize to Madame Xiao." Madame Qin, filled with reluctance, had no other option. With the tide turned against her, she had to swallow her pride. Gritting her teeth, she bowed deeply to Xiao Xian. "I apologize, Madame Xiao. I acted impulsively. Please forgive me." Xiao Xian smiled. "Madame Qin, could you enlighten me on why you are so convinced by the words of the two maids? Why are you discontent with me and wish ill upon me, readily believing any baseless or absurd accusations against me?" "No." Madame Qin was taken aback. "Really?" Madame Qin scolded Xiao Xian for being cunning, feeling both embarrassed and vexed. I just, Madame Qin, don't claim it's for my well-being or out of concern for me," Xiao Xian sneered. "Do you take me for a fool? A woman's reputation is crucial. Are you suggesting I was kidnapped for my own good?" Madame Qin couldn't utter a word. Cold sweat formed on her forehead, and she felt so agitated that she nearly wanted to faint. The prefectural magistrate's wife sat upright, her head slightly lowered, holding a handkerchief in her hands, feeling embarrassed on Madame Qin's behalf. But who was to blame? She brought this upon herself. Madame Xiao was a genuinely kind person. If Madame Qin hadn't gone too far, she wouldn't have had to endure such rudeness. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1548. Embarrassed observing this, the deputy prefect's countenance broke into an ingratiating smile. "Lord Xiao, Madame Xiao, it's entirely the fault of my wife for acting imprudently and thoughtlessly. The blame rests solely on her shoulders. It is only natural for Lord Xiao and Madame Xiao to feel displeased. Nevertheless, the deed is done. Thankfully, Madame Xiao hasn't suffered any real harm. I implore you to forgive her once you've expressed your frustration. Please, exercise magnanimity." The deputy prefect rose to his feet, bowing deferentially to Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. Madame Qin couldn't suppress a soft sob as she delicately wiped her eyes with her hand. Genuine tears streamed down her face. She felt a mixture of shame, anger, and regret for her old master. How could she allow him to debase himself in this manner? Xiao Yunduan spoke with composure. "Your wife's conduct is indeed inappropriate. Since Lord Qin has addressed the matter, I shall refrain from further comment." Xiao Xian sneered. "Didn't you assert that you would kowtow to me and my two maids if I weren't taken away? Madame Qin, your confidence is truly astonishing. I'm curious where you derive such assurance." A moment of stunned silence enveloped everyone. Madame Qin's face reddened, and her mind reeled in shock. Embarrassment engulfed her. Too humiliating. The deputy prefect shot her a sidelong glance. When had she become so audacious? How could she utter such statements so casually? Madame Qin hid her face behind a handkerchief, intensifying her sobs. She longed to dismantle Qiao Wei piece by piece. If only she hadn't spread that false information, he wouldn't find himself in this predicament. It was all her doing. Yet, lacking evidence and appearing as though Xiao Xian had conspired against her, she had no recourse but to acknowledge her misfortune. What else could she do except admit she was unlucky? Xiao Xian, maintaining his composure, remarked, "Madame Qin, while your confidence is commendable, my maid and I have no desire for you to kowtow to us. As the wife of the deputy prefect, I believe some courtesy is in order. I've always been magnanimous and cannot tolerate unnecessary complications." Madame Qin experienced throbbing pain in her chest and ribs, leaving her feeling lightheaded and infuriated. Why didn't she just faint? The deputy prefect, too, was flustered, his thoughts in disarray. Xiao Yunduan interjected with a chuckle, "Let's not dwell on this. As my wife has suggested, let bygones be bygones. We depart the day after tomorrow. Kindly ensure our peace for the next 2 days." The deputy prefect wiped sweat from his forehead, nodding hastily, while the magistrate offered polite words and a smile. Soon, the quartet rose and exited in succession. Upon stepping out, Madame Qin nearly kicked the threshold and stumbled, injuring her toes. Returning home, she discovered bruises and endured pain. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan exchanged glances, sharing a laugh. I feel much better now. What kind of person is she? Trying to strike when him down. Xiao Xian remarked. Xiao Yunduan smiled. It's not over yet, just wait and see. Intrigued, Xiao Xian nodded. Really? I'm eagerly anticipating it. The deputy prefect's couple, leaving the relay station, were utterly stunned. Their minds reeled, a dizzying embarrassment settling in. They had never experienced such humiliation before, not even from the magistrate. This time, they had truly encountered an unexpected challenge. Returning to their home, they closed the door and engaged in a heated argument. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1549. End of the farce. The farce ultimately reached its conclusion. The deputy prefect's wife relinquished her pursuit of revenge against Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan, not out of disinterest but due to the realization that such an opportunity would never present itself. Xiao Xian's cutting words had left her feeling deeply embarrassed, and the prospect of further humiliation deterred her from attempting any retaliation. A palpable sense of danger emanated from Xiao Xian. She recognized him as someone not to be trifled with. Offending him was a risk she couldn't afford to take, and the humiliation he inflicted had been a bitter lesson. Fueled by resentment, she redirected her animosity toward Xiao Wei, despising her to the core. That audacious woman dared to orchestrate her downfall. If not for the fabricated news she relayed, the deputy prefect's wife reasoned, she wouldn't have acted impulsively, and Xiao Xian wouldn't have slapped her in public. It was akin to inviting others to witness the assault, a blow to her dignity she couldn't easily stomach. While still contemplating ways to exact revenge on Xiao Wei, a startling event unfolded that night. An assassin infiltrated the relay station and attacked Xiao Yunduan. Imperial physicians rushed to attend to him, leaving Xiao Xian in a state of panic. Witnessing Xiao Yunduan's pallid face, she succumbed to the stress and fainted. The relay station buzzed with activity as lights illuminated the chaos. People were thrown into disarray. Sun Bai and his comrades, along with Yi and a dozen guards, pursued the assassin, but the assailant left behind traces and managed to escape into the deputy prefect's courtyard. The deputy prefect and the prefect resided at the rear of the government office. Although provided accommodations at the relay station, the deputy prefect couple continued to reside there, enjoying the magistrate's favor and additional territory. When Sun Bai, Yi, and the others stormed in, the deputy prefect couple naturally erupted in fury. However, the sight of bloodstains in the courtyard brought panic to their faces. Quick-witted, the deputy prefect's wife immediately asserted that this was Lord Xiao and Madame Xiao's act of vengeance. According to her narrative, they must have orchestrated a covert plot to smear the courtyard with bloodstains and then frame them. Enraged by these allegations, Sun Bai, Yi, and the others vehemently responded. Sun Bai snapped, "Our lord barely survived an assassination attempt, with the imperial physician currently working to save her." Madame was so terrified she fainted on the spot. Numerous brothers have tracked the assailant all the way here. Additionally, bailiffs from your government office are stationed to guard the courier station. Everyone witnessed a black-clothed infiltrator with their own eyes, yet Madame Qin is playing the blame game. She's truly cunning and malicious. Brothers, let's find the assassin and expose her deceit. The deputy prefect, in a state of panic, protested, "You can't search." Upon learning of Xiao Yunduan's grave injury, shock overcame the deputy prefect and his wife. Madame Qin, too frightened to speak further, recoiled. Sun Bai sneered, "Why not? Are you shielding the assassin? It seems Lord Qin is implicated with the assailant." "What baseless accusations? There's no truth to that." Sun Bai retorted, "It might not be so. Although we're unsure of the motive, it's evident that both of you harbor animosity towards our madam and madam. Madame Qin has repeatedly caused trouble before. It's not surprising if you seek revenge. You can't escape suspicion. Lord Qin, even if it's to clear your name, step aside. Otherwise, it looks like you're protecting the culprit. The deputy prefect found himself speechless, well aware that his wife's antagonistic actions toward Xiao Yinduan and Xiao Xian were glaringly apparent to everyone. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible.